Hello. My microphone is limp. My microphone is limp. Good evening. It is 8:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are live. Why are we live? We are live to talk about men's issues. Y'all know that we center men on this channel, men's feelings, and we attempt to understand men. That's what we do on these channels. On this channel, that's what we do. So let me quickly go through some future plans. But before I go through some future plans, let's get the memes out of the way. I don't have memes for you today in the traditional sense. What I found today is, well, let me just play them. There is a man going around and he's doing something that I think is very funny. We had a special guest for today, by the way, but she decided not to join, so I have to sort of change the live stream plans last minute, but they're going to remain mostly the same, just to let you guys know. So there is a man. This man has decided that deadbeat dads are not okay. So he decided he's going to go and tackle them. And I've discovered this recently, and it's bringing me all the joy. Let's watch together.
What you doing in my yard?
Man, you worry about the wrong things. You ain't talking about. Ain't nobody scared of you, bro. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Oh, oops. This isn't the clip I meant to play. This is a woman who is talking to a man who believes that the black family under Jim Crow was better. I don't want to watch that. Instead, let's watch some more of these tackles.
I'm gonna bust you inside your head. What?
There's a camera on you, baby.
There's a camera on me right
back behind you.
Oh, hello, praise the Lord.
That's not a tackle. That just happened to be in my recent watched. I was going down the shorts feed.
You know what? Keep it need time.
What's wrong with you, bro? Give
Need my time.
It's about to go down.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. I don't need no ties. My face clean. Serious ass nigga. Set up.
Now let's pause because I think we don't give enough credit, right? Let's go back and let's watch real quick what's happening. I like that YouTube has a frame thing now, so you can go frame by frame, right? So we have this gentleman in the store. And the first thing that happens,
You know what? Keep it need.
bam, smacked it out your hands. I don't know what he smacked out of his hands. Does not matter. It does not matter to me. Put a 1 in the chat if you have something in your hand and somebody slaps that thing out of your hand. Doesn't matter what the thing is. Put a 1 if it does. Put a 2 if it doesn't. I'm putting a 2. It does not matter what it is in my hand. If you slap it out my hand, this is war. Unless it's a live grenade and you're saving my life. I don't know. So something was just smacked out of this man's hand. Let's see how it proceeds.
Need time.
What's wrong with you, bro? Give
Need my time.
It's about to go down.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
All right. I did not mean to pause at this exact frame, but it was perfect. He's backing up. This is a whole setup. And I love it.
Yeah. I don't need no ties. My face clean. Serious ass nigga. Set up.
Let's continue. Oh, he yelled setup. That's what he said. Yes, it was a setup.
Fine.
V, we're voting on. Let's go back. V just missed it. So V, if someone slaps something out of your hand, does it matter what it is that they slapped out of your hand? And your mood and your reaction is based on what they slapped out of your hand? Or Does it not matter? You just slapped something out of my hand. We're about to fight. Let's go back and watch what inspired this.
They go to time. You know what? Keep it need time.
What's wrong with you, bro? Give
Need my time.
It's about to go down.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. I don't need no ties. My face clean.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with tackling deadbeat dads. I don't feel like it. And the crazy part is, someone said this in the comments. Welcome, by the way, VTV. Did they serve court papers? So I remember watching this man when I was like a child. I think he was active back then. And I could have sworn at one point he would tackle them and then throw their court papers at them. I'm not sure if that was real or a skit, but I do remember this man serving some court papers. But what I like about this currently is that he doesn't serve any court papers. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say, I'm tackling you because you're a deadbeat dad and you don't take care of your kids. No, he just tackles you. You don't know why you just got tackled to the ground. You don't even know this has anything to do with your child. That's what I love about this. It's just a bad thing that happens to a bad person. They don't know why.
Serve ass nigga. Set up.
What the doing my yard? We'll do no caution around here. Don't back up now.
It's about to go down.
Tackling deadbeat dads is a genre that first of all, the fact that it's a genre is incredible. But it's a genre that I didn't know existed and that I didn't know needs to exist, but it does.
What the doing my yard? We'll do no caution around here. Don't back up now.
It's about to go down.
I mean, yo, set up.
What are you doing in my yard?
Set up. That's why I'm in your yard.
What?
Set up. Set up for that. Set up. Set up. Set up. How many times I gotta say it? Let me try. We need you to fix the motherfucking car right here.
It's about to go down.
Oh, yeah, nigga, we don't need no car fix. We don't need no car fix. You serve.
Ooh, look at you, boy. You done got these. Man, this is football. Man, I see you. Oh, what the fuck? Ow.
Apparently, this is his dad who he tackled. And the people in the comments were saying, oh, okay, we understand now why you do this as like a career. As a career, we understand now. Let's watch one more.
Man, what's wrong with football games? Why don't you know I put you in this world and I'll take you out? What the hell wrong with you? Well, I guess I just got served, but I never figured my own son would come and tackle me the way he did. I know it's been a long time and everything, but I was expecting a hug and a handshake.
He served.
Like I said, how you can get
It's about to go down.
Ooh, they got T-Pain. For anyone who just joined, we're watching a channel that's dedicated to tackling deadbeat dads. He does not let them know why they're being tackled. He doesn't serve them papers. He just goes and tackles deadbeat dads.
And man, I heard you been sucking dick on Facebook, man. They tagged me in it. Eddie House looking at it, nigga. Yo, they did. Stop sucking dick on Facebook, nigga. Yeah. Freak ass nigga, you like to take bubble bath. Let's go, Brown. Let's fucking go.
In my yard. Yo, you Timmy Macklin? Yeah.
Okay, I think we've seen enough. Or have we?
He went in that stuff. Let's go. Hey, just follow me. Just follow me. Benjamin Willis.
Who the fuck is you, man?
Benjamin Willis. Yes, sir. Let's go.
Okay, we've seen enough. I think it's great that deadbeat dads are being tackled. I know there were maybe one or two people, I'm not sure if they're still in the comments, but they were upset at this needless violence. And I'm just like, take care of your children. I've never been scared of somebody tackling me. I have never been scared of somebody tackling me in the store ever in my life. But it's a sort of fear, right? It's a sort of fear because have y'all ever heard of like an audit? Obviously, you guys have. The IRS apparently picks like a couple of people is like an understatement, but they pick people to audit throughout the year. But it's very, very, very unlikely that you will ever be audited. So if y'all are claiming dependents you don't have on your taxes in a way that's subtle and not very noticeable, it's not likely that the IRS is going to audit you, but the chance is there. So I believe this instills a type of fear into people where they're like, well, I don't want to be that one person who the IRS gets. As a matter of fact, maybe it's not a matter of you're not going to be audited. It's just not you're going to be audited right now, right? I feel like 50 years down the line where you're in your comfortable home, they're coming back for that $17 that you lied about. And now it has accrued interest and you owe $600 million bajillion, right? So all I'm saying is if there's the chance that you will be tackled if you're a deadbeat dad, I feel like this might be good for the community. You guys may disagree. That's fine. So I'll play my intro and we can get into it.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Been swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed up. Swallowed up. Swallowed. Been swallowed up. Swallowed. Swallowed up. Swallowed. Been swallowed up. I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Been swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed up. Been swallowed up. Swallowed. Swallowed up. Swallowed. Been swallowed up. Swallowed. Swallowed up. Swallowed.
Excellent. Swallowed up. So the topic of today is supposed to be about men and men's feelings and understanding if men having feelings is a turnoff for women. I feel like this is something that I hear about a lot. Women want an emotional man, but then men say, oh, but if you're emotional around a woman, she don't respect you, blah, 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 blah. It feels like two conflicting sides that I would have liked to talk about with our special guest, but she decided not to come today. We were going to talk about one of her dusty relationships. I would have liked to dive into. I would have liked to dive into that, but we're not going to. So we're going to come from a bit of a less personal approach. Outside of that, Abba and Preach have made a video, I think today, that I would like to go through with you guys, because Abba and Preach, it feels like I haven't finished the video, but it feels like they're confused about why the red pill and manosphere is being investigated, or they kind of don't agree with the manosphere being investigated. Okay, they didn't release it today. They released it a few weeks ago. So Abba and Preach are confused about why this is being studied, or at least disagree with the government studying it. My understanding, I haven't read through the entire study yet. I have looked through some of it. My understanding is that people who consume this content are more likely to be violent. So particularly violent towards women. This matches with the research that I've looked at before. So I'd like to talk about that with you guys. Probably not today. In the future also, I finally purchased a piece of literature that I would like to go through together. I have purchased Denying R, but Endorsing Forceful Intercourse. If you guys recall me ever bringing this up, this was a piece of research that was regarding men who, if you ask them, have you ever R'd someone, the men would say no. But if you ask them less direct questions about behavior, such as, have you ever held someone down and prevented them from leaving? Have you ever blocked someone's access to the door unless they agreed to have sex with you? Have you ever held someone down until they agreed to have sex with you? Have you ever had sex with someone who told you no multiple times, right? If you ask men these questions, they were likely to say yes. But if you ask them, have you ever R'd someone, they would say no. Obviously, the stuff that I just mentioned is considered R by definition, not just by like colloquial definition, but by legal definition. Yes, trigger warning, my apologies. Trigger warning, but I finally got that study. I would have liked to get into it a while ago, but it is $400. It is $400 to get access to that study, unless you pirate it. And y'all know I don't break the law. So we have been just slowly saving up $400 all these years, and we finally can afford it. We can finally afford to go through the study. And what's interesting is as I'm going through the study, the study defines a type of profile, right? Our last video, we were looking at, what's it called? We were looking at, I forgot the name of the research. What were we looking at? Let me pull it up. Family annihilators. That's what it's called. I can't remember the other term. Familicide or family annihilators. And while we were looking at that research, they were building profiles of men who were more likely to do this type of, thank you, Chrissy, who were likely, yes, $400. And then after I paid it, I found out you could get it for $50 somewhere else. Well, technically, if you buy the whole, it's a series called Violence and Gender, and you can purchase all of the research in there. They have like dozens of volumes. That's $400. The actual one publication would be just $50, but we're here now. So family annihilators, as we were discussing last week, they have a certain profile that tends to be manipulative, tends to view women as property, tends to view children as property as well. There's a type of profile that they built around men who would be likely to unalive their family, unalive their wife or child or uncle or whoever have you, in or unalive themselves. And these profiles that they built were eerily similar with things that you might hear from the manosphere, interestingly enough. And as I'm going through the study regarding denying R, but endorsing forceful intercourse, where they explore why responders, not just why responders wouldn't admit that they R'd someone. Yes, I'm taking down my hair. I'm in the process of taking down my hair. I still have some braids in the back. This is going to be a long process, and I might shave it off. I can't do this. Every month. No. And I can't pay someone to take them out because why am I? That seems ridiculous in a too much money for 1 month. Also, I bought a pair of clippers. And I would politely ask that no one say anything for like the next 2 to 4 weeks. No one comment on anything regarding, in particular, my lineup and the sides of my hair. After the 2 to 4 weeks, y'all are good to go. But I believe 2 to 4 weeks is like the learning period where I learn how to cut my hair correctly. And then like, after that, you can make fun of me because if I'm still cutting it bad after 4 weeks, then I feel like I deserve it. But just ignore it for the next 2 to 4 weeks is all I'm saying. So as I'm looking through denying R but endorsing forceful intercourse, I have not read the length of this. It's 6 pages, but they're very, very thick if you can see it on screen. And again, they are describing profiles of men who would be more likely to do these things. One of the profiles, as I'm reading, this is one of the first 2 that I'm reading. The first 2 profiles that they listed were callous sexual attitudes and hostility towards women. Hostility towards women talk about men who hyperfixate on negative interactions with women, who talk about rejections, who talk about women laughing at them or their emotions, right? Those type of men. And then callous sexist attitudes happen to be about men who tend to objectify women, and men who believe in a certain type of masculinity, specifically hypermasculinity, where it's a exaggeration of traditional masculine messages, like real men should enjoy danger or aggressively pursue sexual opportunities. I'm bringing this up because I'm sure many of you may have come from Themis's live yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure. And I popped in and saw him. I saw a man in a red hat and another man with braids or twist. And I think my brain cells were dying. If I'm going to be straightforward with you, my brain cells were dying. And I feel like that reaffirmed my decision not to debate with men, because I feel like the conversation seemed brain dead. Hopefully that's not insulting to any group of people with like neurological disorder, but the conversation seemed not very well thought out, seemed to be lacking depth, seemed very basic and stupid. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. So those men, as they were talking, I noticed one who says that he's a Christian, but talks about like how he's going to cheat on his wife and do stuff like that if women, not his wife, girlfriend, or so, I don't know, but he says if girls come up to him and want to have sex, he's going to have sex. He can't say no. He has no option, because men cheating is different than women cheating, and women have to build connection, blah, 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 blah. Well, this type of profile is actually in this study, right? And that would be men with callous attitudes, especially men who believe that they can have sex with a lot of women without catching feelings or anything like that. Those men tend to view women not as like 3-dimensional human beings, but as a object, a sex object, which is a pair of words that we've heard a lot probably by now. But yeah, these were related to men who have hypermasculine attitudes towards sexual aggression. These are the men who are in this study who are more likely to not only say, yes, I do R women, because there were men who answered just straight up, yes, I do R women. But these were the men who said, no, I don't R women. But then if you ask them, have you ever held someone down? Have you ever prevented someone from leaving the room? Have you ever threatened someone? They would answer yes. So I'm just bringing all of this up because as I'm watching Abin preach, who I don't watch generally, but they happen to pop up in my feed. And I saw that they were talking about the study that named MTR, Pearly Things, and some other people that the FBI are looking into, and the Manosphere and Red Pill and stuff. I saw them talking about this in outside of them acknowledging that Red Pill is kind of crazy. It seems like they're confused or don't support the government getting involved with something like this, and why it's necessary to go to these extremes. Now, to be fair, I haven't watched their whole video, so take this with a grain of salt. That's just my interpretation of what it sounded like they were talking about. They don't like government intervention in something like this. I would, because it has been proven continuously. The more studies we go through, the more we're able to link them to each other, these types of profiles. The same men are being described in each study. The same men from the Family Annihilator study who are likely to unalive their wife and children tend to have the same type of profile as the men in this study who are likely to R women but don't believe that they are R'ing women. But if you ask them, have you done these behaviors, they would admit to it. This study, by the way, does not just cover men's attitudes. It also covers women belief, because women, interestingly enough, in this study were likely to say, if you ask them, have you ever been R'd? The women would say no. If you ask them, has someone ever done these behavior that by definition is R, the women would say yes, just like the men do. So this study looks into those type of attitudes, those type of attitudes, and the profiles match. So if people are confused about why the government might have an interest in if there is a proven link that someone who consumes manosphere content becomes radicalized, and might have a higher proclivity to violence, particularly violence towards women and sexual violence, this is something I think we should have an interest in preventing. It is, right? When we see mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting, and all of these shootings have manifesto something, immigrants coming into the country, keep our country white, something, gays, and I don't know, women, something, right? It always has some sort of, I believe, conservative leaning, generally something about keeping the country white or LGBT agenda or modern society or modern women. There are kind of similar sentiments. And when these type of beliefs are common amongst people who go out and commit mass murder or do other type of violence, I do believe it should be studied. I do believe it should be studied and prevented. So those are just future plans. Now we can get into a less serious topic about men's emotions in relationships. Yes, incels are dangerous. And yes, braids was awful. Again, I was reading this for the first time yesterday as I was listening to Themis, and it was interesting because he was describing himself as the men in this study, which was really crazy to me. He was describing men generally, like, oh, men can have sex with a lot of women, or oh, the what is it, the key in the lock, or the car with a lot of mouths, or one I heard was like a t-shirt that a bunch of people put on, right? He was just using all of the markers that are in this profile, which was very, very interesting and kind of scary because these people have audiences, large audiences. And when the research comes out about them, they seem to be confused. I'm not confused. So you should apply for a research grant. I don't know what that is, so I feel like I shouldn't have one. Oh no, what's going on in Jujutsu Kaisen? I think Gojo's back. I'm not sure what's going on, but it's going crazy. I know that much. It's going crazy. So I'm going to put this on screen. Let me make it smaller. I don't know which format for this. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to put this on screen. There. Can you guys see this, or is it too small? Let me know. If it's fine, let me know with a 1. If it needs to be bigger, let me know with a 2. So as I was doing some listening, right? One of my good friends is describing a relationship that she has with a man, which I will not be too descriptive about because it's not my story to tell, and it's not for me to pass judgment on to people. Make it slightly bigger. E. Because this is already at 150%. It's okay. It can just be the bigger person. I don't have to be. I know I'm not. So I'm talking to my friend, and she's describing how this man is not capable mentally or emotionally in their relationship. They're not in a romantic relationship, by the way, to my knowledge, but this man is not mentally or emotionally capable in their relationship, and that makes it difficult and kind of grating for them to speak to each other, as evidenced by I listen to this relationship a lot. I really wish he were here to help me describe this so I don't feel like I'm doing dirty and talking behind somebody's back, but she's not, so I'll have to be slutatious today. Slutatious. Look it up. It doesn't mean slutty. So Men have a issue sharing their feelings. This much is something that everyone knows. Women seem to have a yearning for men to open up more emotionally. However, as the manosphere would have it, or men, you don't even have to look at the manosphere. This is something that I believe men were surveyed about, and men would say that they can't open up to their wife or girlfriend. Now, this doesn't match. Actually, I'll put a pin on that because I can't remember at the moment, but I'm pretty sure I remember reading some research regarding men generally using their wife or girlfriend as their only emotional outlet. Not that men were likely to be emotional, but when they were likely to use their wife or girlfriend as an outlet. So if that's true, which I'm putting a pin in because I can't verify that at the moment. I don't have the research in front of me. If that's true, then this wouldn't line up, and this would just be men saying that they can't share their feelings with their girlfriend while when in reality they can. But we'll ignore that for now. Men are saying that they cannot share emotions with their girlfriend. And not only can they not share emotion with their girlfriend, but they're turned off by it. This apparently is common enough a sentiment for me to be able to find. Let's share this tab instead. For me to be able to find a good bit of article writing on this. I've yet to look into the research, but I'd like to look into some articles instead because this is something that's been covered a lot. Outlet for talking or for anger. For anger, obviously, but I'm thinking more about talking and emotion. What I was referring to wasn't anger, but rather about offloading your emotions, right, in a non-aggressive way. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about men discussing their feelings or offloading their emotions onto their wife or girlfriend. So what I was interested to know is this true? Are women turned off by men who talk about their feelings? And when I Googled this is the first article that came up. I read one paragraph and I decided we could read them together. And once we get to the part that I would like my friend to be here for, I'll stop and maybe open the panel and maybe someone can come up if they have a similar experience. So be listening out for something that you find relatable because there's a specific part that I want to get into. So let's pull this up. Oops, 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 oops. That feels like club music to me. I don't know why. So this was written not too long ago, actually. This was late last year. So do women get turned off by men who talk about their feelings? Talking about feelings and emotions is an important part of any healthy relationship. Actually, let me put a poll in the chat. I believe you guys should vote blindly. I shouldn't give you the answers. So I'll ask, are women turned off by men sharing emotions? Now, I'm going to preemptively say no. I've not known anyone in my life. This is obviously an anecdote, which is why I was looking to research. Ooh. Okay, y'all better send them votes in then. Prove me wrong, but I'm going to preemptively say no. I don't believe women are turned off by men sharing their emotions. I don't have research to prove this currently. I only have my current anecdote. I'm going to do research in the future, but for now, we're just going to read this article. Because I want to understand why some men might perceive this way. This is like a very common sentiment. This is not rare at all. So talking about feelings and emotions is an important part of any healthy relationship. However, some men worry that being open with their emotions will actually turn women off. So what do women really think when a man talks about his feelings? Let's start with the first bullet point. I'm trying to drag this across my screen. You guys can't see it. So The first bullet point, women appreciate emotional openness to a point. This is what I remember reading as well. My research on this is limited, but from what I remember, there's a certain threshold. So women do want emotional openness to a certain point. That's what I recall reading. I won't elaborate further because I don't have the research. Many women say they want a man who can be emotionally vulnerable. Expressing emotion shows he trusts you and feels comfortable being his authentic self. However, there are limits. Trauma dumping or constant negativity is draining. I think this is the part where I was like, this sounds like somebody my friend already. I was like, this sounds like something my friend talk about. Well, she doesn't say someone's trauma dumping on me, someone's constantly negative. She just describes her interactions with someone in particular, and I'm like, this sounds familiar when I read this paragraph. But there are limits. Trauma dumping or constant negativity is draining. Use good judgment on when and what to share based on the relationship stage. Oh, as one Reddit explains, so they're using Reddit now. Y'all better watch out on Reddit. They're using your comments. I don't know why y'all think y'all are safe. They're looking at the Reddit comments. I just got on there and they're already studying Reddit now. Anywho, I get turned on by emotional maturity and respecting general boundaries by not trauma dumping or treating me like a therapist just because I'm a good listener. So it sounds like that's going to bleed into the next point, which is don't make her your only emotional outlet. But this does sound, in my opinion, like emotional, what's the word? Is it emotional regulation, emotional intelligence? I'm going to use emotional intelligence, or she used emotional maturity, actually. Let's use that. So respecting general boundaries by not trauma dumping or treating me like a therapist. I do think, when it comes to men in particular, as many men will tell you themselves, I think there's a sort of inability to regulate emotion well. What I commonly hear, particularly from the manosphere, let me be clear, what I commonly hear is there will be like a conversation. There's always a couple men and like a bunch of women around the table. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. It doesn't matter if they're white, black. It doesn't matter if I saw an Asian one recently. There's always a man or two and a bunch of women around the table, and the men are always degrading the women and blah, 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 blah. So the men will pose a question. Do you want an emotional man? The women will say, yes, right? The question is always, do you want an emotional man or a man in touch with his feminine or a man who can open up, blah, 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 blah. The women will always say yes. What the men do immediately after is, oh, so if your husband came home and he broke down and cried on the floor every day because he had a bad day at work, you would be okay with this? Let's pause. This is not emotional openness. This is not emotional intelligence. This is a mess. This is a mess, and this is not representative of what it means to be emotionally mature. The fact that when men are describing being emotional, yes, a straw man. Thank you for that word. I was looking for it in my brain. When there are these two extremes of either being stoic and never showing emotion or throwing yourself to the floor and crying, I believe this demonstrates a lack of emotional maturity. So when men are showing emotion in these relationships, I believe that they are at an extreme. I can't prove this, by the way. I want to reiterate this throughout this video. I currently can't prove this. We can look at research around men's emotional intelligence and men's ability to convey emotions, but I don't know if there's research specifically about how men show emotions in a relationship. If there is, I'll read it though, and we'll revisit. So I believe men are being really, really extreme. If they're showing emotion, they're being really, really extreme. And as the research suggests, women appreciate emotional openness to a point. I don't think if you go on a first date with a man and he I don't know, get up on the table and rip his shirt off and says, I love you, like just screams it out, and everybody around the restaurant is looking at y'all, and you just leave and go home. And now he's going on Reddit talking about women say they want an emotional man, but I tried to show emotion and she rejected, right? This is what I believe is happening. These are just petty theories, right? The next bullet point, don't make her your only emotional outlet. Leaning on your partner for support is expected, but making her your only sounding board is unhealthy for both of you. As one Redditor notes, treating you like a therapist basically means talking to us as if you're a professional whose job is to help you, and not as your partner who has their own emotional needs in the relationship. Have other outlets like friends, family, hobbies, and therapy to process emotion. This does sound like it tracks with what I've read before. So regarding, let's see, we've talked about not understanding what emotional maturity intelligence is, right? I.e. throwing yourself to the floor crying at a minor inconvenience. Also, wait, to touch on that, before we move into being the only emotional outlet, are women throwing themselves to the floor crying in relationships every day over a minor inconvenience? I believe this is unlikely. And would men be attracted to, since we're on the topic of does this turn women on or off or whatever, would men be attracted to a woman like hysterically crying and throwing herself to the floor in fetal position? Do men see this and they're like, oh my God, what a turn on? I don't think so. And why would we look at emotional regulation in terms of being turned on or off anyway? Even if it did turn women off, for example, this is a part of being an adult. Having emotion is part of being an adult. It probably doesn't matter if it turns women on or off, and that shouldn't be what we're measuring whether or not to be emotional in our relationships by. Whether or not it turns women on probably shouldn't be the measure of that. It probably doesn't turn women on to see their husband throw up off the floor, but we're an adult, so we have to clean it up, right? It doesn't matter if it turns our partner on or off. Maybe it does turn some women on. I hear some women say that they like men doing dad things, so I don't know. But even if it doesn't, I'm just saying we shouldn't measure whether or not to be emotional by does it turn someone on. I think that's problematic, right? I think it's problematic that the only reason some men see a reason to work on their emotions is because they think it would attract women. That's unfortunate. And because it doesn't, they don't see a reason to, per them. So don't make her your only emotional outlet. I agree with everything said here. I have nothing to add to it. Obviously, I believe you should be spreading out your branches into different people. That sounds weird, but this mentions friends, family, hobbies, therapy. You could journal, you could have a diary. X diary. I don't think men would like to have a diary, but you can journal. You can take notes, you can write down your thoughts, you can do somatic therapy where you go outside and yell. Right. Some people just have to get it out, but relying on one person to bear the burden of your entire spectrum of emotions is crazy. The next bullet point, timing and delivery matter. Bringing up relationship issues or deep trauma too soon can feel like an emotional dump. Even sharing positive emotions like saying I love you very early on can be a turnoff. As one Redditor explains. Now, what we're going to hear in this is as one Redditor explains. I can already see this. We're going to hear it on. Yep, I'm reading the next one. As one Redditor suggests. And then the next one Redditor notes. Anywho, as one Redditor explains, if it's one of the first dates and the guy gets super lovey-dovey and emotional on me, that's overwhelming. Match the depth of sharing to the intimacy level of the relationship and communicate feelings in a thoughtful, mature way. So what I'm kind of getting as a pattern is having emotions is not enough. Sharing emotions is not enough. Specifically, emotional maturity, emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, right? Right. Glad we all understand that. So to speak on timing and delivery, let's think about men who are lovey-dovey on the first date, for example. This is just one thing that I can think about. I think that men who are lovey-dovey on the first date sometimes can be using this as a tactic to get in a woman's pants early. And because this is a tactic that some men use, right? What is it called? Love bombing. That's what it's called. Thank you for saying that in the chat, Snappy One. Love bombing. The love bombing on the first date to get in someone's pants. I think this is a reason why women could be cautious or turned off by emotion in this case. Like, how often have we heard, I don't know how often you guys have heard this. Oh my God, the first date was perfect. He was such a gentleman. He brought me flowers. He was so confident, charismatic. The chemistry was there. We talked all night and made such a deep connection. Went back to my place and then the next morning, he didn't text me at all. I texted and he took all day to respond. He stopped texting back. The only time he reaches out now is at 3 a.m. for like a booty call or something. Oh my God, what happened? Everything was so perfect until we slept together. I'll tell you what happened. You were love bombed. Right. I think more women are starting to understand this tactic, and this could be affecting women's reactions to men coming off with strong emotions and feelings on the first date, right? So I'm just trying to explain from what I believe is a different perspective around what men say is women being turned off from emotions, right? I'm trying to look at it from a different perspective than, oh, women just don't like emotional men. I think there are extra layers to this conversation. The next bullet. Insecurity is unattractive. Venting fears or jealousy can backfire by making you appear insecure. Focus conversations on building the relationship up rather than tearing your partner down. Ooh. As one Redditor suggests, when you share your feelings, you are exposing yourself. If she leaves after you share your feelings, it's not because you are vulnerable. It's because you exposed an unattractive part of yourself. So to comment on this, I think if someone leaves you because you open up to them, let's say on one hand, you open up about something that's like disgusting, and on the other hand, you opened up about something that's like reasonable for someone to open up about. Maybe you were like sad that your grandpa died or something. I don't know. If you open up about something and your partner leaves you, I don't think this is a reason to not share emotions. I'm going to keep saying this because the sentiment that I see from men is that the reason I don't share emotions with my wife or with my girlfriend is because if I did, she would leave me or she would respect me less or something. I don't believe this is a reason to not share your emotions. This might be a reason to leave your partner, but I don't believe this is a reason to not share your emotions. Assuming you're in a healthy relationship with someone. Now, as far as someone leaving you because you exposed an unattractive part of yourself, how do we feel about that? Are we a yay or a nay in the chat? Yay or nay? Specifically, this is describing, you can put a 1 for yes, a 2 for no. If you think that it's okay to leave someone after they open up to you about, this example used was fears. They express their fears. Maybe I fear the relationship might fail. I fear you're not actually attracted to me, right? Because this bullet is talking about insecurity. What was 1? I don't even remember. Is 1 yay? I think 1 is yay. So I see 2 yays. Those are all the votes we're going to get. 20% of people voted women are turned off by men sharing emotions. That's interesting. Be sure to like the video, by the way. It helps the algorithm. So I think it would depend. I think it's probably specific to, this would have to be more individualized. I don't think it's always okay to leave someone based on them being insecure or jealous. It would just depend. Next bullet. The double standard is real. Many men report women want men. Huh? Many men report women want men to support their emotion. Oh, okay. Many men report that women want men to support their emotional needs, but withdraw when the roles are reversed. This indicates an unhealthy imbalance. So, one Redditor notes, women have told me that they have been AR'd, and I have listened and sympathized. Conversely, women have gone cold when I'm told them the grammar in this is difficult. When I've told them far less extreme things that have happened to me, seek someone who can give empathy as well as receive it. I actually don't agree with this bullet point, because if someone tells you they have been AR'd and you listen and sympathize, the correct scenario for you to, I believe you could be angry if you had been AR'd and you went to them and they weren't there. I would understand why you would be upset at this. But if someone was AR'd and you spoke to them and you were there for them, and then you stubbed your toe and this made you upset all day, but they weren't here for you, I feel like that is completely okay. These two things scale differently. One is definitely more important. Now, if you told me you both experienced the same thing, you were there for them, but they weren't there for you, now I understand. And this, the advice here is seek someone who can give empathy as well as receive it. I agree. Advice for sharing feelings with women. So here we have some advice. And then we're going to get back into timing. That's the part where I'll preemptively put the link now, but that's the part where I wanted some voices, if anyone would like to. If not, it's okay. But I will pin that. Bam. Got it. So the advice that they give to men for sharing feelings with women. Here are some tips to open up while keeping her attracted. I don't like that framing, by the way. I think you should just open up about your emotions and not worry about whether or not someone's attracted to you. That shouldn't be the basis off of which you are regulating your emotions, I don't believe. Regulate your emotions because you're an adult. Regulate your emotions because that's healthy, and that would lead to less violence generally if you're not bottling up your emotion and it bursts out one day when you can't contain it, right? I believe there are a lot of reasons to regulate your emotions. I don't believe I want to attract a woman is a good one. Y'all, I remember when I was in high school and I listened to a friend complain for an hour. Then I talked for about 2 minutes and was interrupted by her snoring. People suck. Aww. I'm sorry, Sakara. I'll listen. The link is there. You can tell me your high school woes. PG-13, please. Here are some tips to open up while keeping her attracted. Match vulnerability to intimacy level. I believe this was specifically talking about the men who are like being way overbearing too soon. Number 2, find balance between listening and sharing. Agreed. I think listening in particular, I think a better balance could be found through listening, because I think men are likely to interrupt. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure men are likely to interrupt if their girlfriend or wife is venting or talking about their day. They generally interrupt. If you're mad about her, why don't you just blah 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 blah, right? with the excuse that it's like solution oriented or something, and men are solution oriented. But I think more listening could be better. Discuss solutions along with problems. Steer clear of constant negativity or insecurity, or even if you're not steering clear of it, right? These are things that could be discussed with a therapist, which one of the later bullets says, have other outlets besides your partner. And lastly, don't trauma dump, seek therapy if needed. The key is being real while maintaining strength with the right woman. Emotional availability will only deepen the bond. Bam. Anywho, the bottom line, expressing feelings shows depth and trust in a relationship, but balance, timing, and context matter. Those struggling with trauma or insecurity are better seeking professional help before dating. Thank you. Seek professional help. Get some therapy. Get some therapy. Maybe I can put that on a t-shirt. Get some therapy. While views differ, the majority of women appreciate some emotional openness. Just take care to avoid overburdening partners with constant venting or trauma dumping. That's interesting. I wonder why it can't be framed this way. Instead of being like, women don't like emotional men, women just lie about wanting an emotional man, but if they actually get an emotional man, they won't respect him. Instead of framing it like that, you could frame it in the way that this article does. Women do like emotional openness. They don't want to be your therapist. And you probably shouldn't be overburdening people. Agreed. Molasses, did you have something to say before I get to my Majugally?
Hello, Petty. It's very nice. Well, first, can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much for opening it up for me to talk. I think this article really generalizes a lot of women because, like, and also, I don't like the term trauma dumping. I feel like that's a very insensitive term. For many reasons, like, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but, like, someone like me, like, I don't mind when people will share what happens with them, but I think it's to credit what you said, like exactly what happens to them. A lot of people will complain about situations where, quite frankly, like they were the problem and they just don't have the self-awareness to recognize that. Meanwhile, in comparison to being R-worded, something like that, like it's something that happens, and like even being sexually assaulted, that happens to a lot of people. Oh, I said, I'm so sorry. I'm not sure if YouTube's gonna do something about that. But when people get SA'd and these things, like it's something that happens and they don't have any control. Meanwhile, I feel like when men say I can't be emotional, it's like a lot of the things you're being unemotional about are like things that are within your control and like you could change, because there's so many things that men can get away with and they have so much more control over due to their position in society that I don't think they really realize. What are your thoughts on that statement?
I had questions, not thoughts.
What were your questions?
Specifically, what is trauma dumping? Maybe we have different understanding. I didn't know it was considered as I take my hair out, I didn't know it was considered insensitive.
Okay, let me rephrase how I stated that. I think people use the term trauma dumping in a way that is insensitive because, I mean, a lot of quote unquote therapy speech is being weaponized. We all have a situation where you simply disagree with someone and they called you a gaslighter. You know what I mean? Like, I've had situations where I've been like, oh, that didn't happen the way, in my head, it didn't happen the way that you thought it was. It was a simple disagreement. And I think trauma is something that everyone has, whether they want to admit it or not, but it's so subjective. So someone that's been through a lot more in life, especially as they go through with age, they can talk about their experiences more candidly. Meanwhile, someone that's a lot younger, they may be more self-conscious and they may not even feel like they're in a place where they can come to terms with what happened in their life. They feel as if, oh, I go through so much, I don't like talking about it, so you shouldn't be talking about it in general. Do you get what I'm trying to say with that?
Yes, but my understanding of trauma dumping isn't necessarily, you mentioned someone who's able to be more candid with their trauma. it would be that, but without considering
the emotional state of the person that is being spoken to, correct?
That's not what I want to say. I want to say, I mean, in a sense, without considering the impact on who you're speaking to, or maybe whether or not it's an inappropriate time or place.
Yeah. And with
like when I'm at work and I'm like, I don't know if this is racist. White people, white people have had this thing. This is true for every job I've ever worked at. This has been true for years and years. When you ask Bob, how was your day? Bob is ready to tell you, my day, man, ex-wife took the kids. I almost killed myself in them. It's been going pretty good. I don't know why white people share a lot, but this is something that I might define as trauma dumping. Not necessarily that they're open and candid about their experience, but that they might not be considering the impact on who they're talking to, or whether or not it's an inappropriate time or place. That can be fluid, mind you. I don't know what is the appropriate time and place.
Yeah, I definitely get it. I mean, oversharing is something that a lot of people are having issues with, both receiving and putting information out there. And, you know, I think this is cultural too, because I feel like in some places in the world, if you ask someone how they're doing, they're going to be like, oh, I'm doing shitty. And like, they'll share everything. Like, they're going to dump it on you. But then I think in the USA, you may hear my cat in the background, she's purring. But if in the USA, you know, our culture is very, and I assume you're in New York, so like you're in the USA, but our culture is very like more reserved when it comes to emotions. So I think that that's something to be considered, but also like I feel like trauma dumping is something that's like, and like it's very subjective, because when like if my coworker were to say like the wife is going through a lot, like I yeah, it's not the right place and time, but I really wouldn't feel as if it's a slight on me. I'd feel as if, oh wow, this person's really going through something, they need to talk to someone, and I'd feel bad for them. And yeah, there's a little part of me that like feels that pity, but then like for me to like say, oh, you're trauma dumping, and for me to villainize it, I think that's someone seeking for help. And regardless of how I view them, I think on a base level I would kind of empathize with them and think, okay, like maybe, you know, this person really does need help, and I'm not going to be there to solve it. I'm not a therapist, but you know, like show them something else. And that's why I think the trauma dumping and the way people just casually use that word and weaponize it is really insensitive, because like, you know, someone couldn't be in, and I'll give you an example, maybe like a Socratic seminar in a classroom, and they talk about their personal experience within that setting. And just because another person may have feelings about that person that are like, they may have beef, or they may have said something prior that they don't like, and they don't like that person, they are more likely to say, oh, you're trauma dumping. And I think there's just a level of sensitivity, and like as much as we do like to talk about therapy, I feel like we should really talk to more psychiatrists and therapists about what they have to say, because you know, people overshare because they're lonely, and loneliness is an epidemic, regardless of how men say it only impacts them. It impacts women too, it impacts everyone. So I just think a lot of sensitivity has to be brought into this, and a lot of nuance. And quite frankly, from that article, I think men just don't have enough self-awareness in general to see like what is really going on, and like why women are reacting the way that they're reacting, in short. Thank you for listening to my ramble.
Of course. So I don't disagree that people weaponize therapy speak. And I don't disagree that referring to someone as, or to someone, what someone is sharing to you as trauma dumping, I would consider insensitive, specifically if you're sharing it with that person, like that you might go, I don't know, to your therapist and talk about a friend who quote unquote trauma dumps on you. I think would be different than like your friend quote unquote trauma dumps on you and you tell them you're trauma dumping on me right now or something like that. I believe that would be insensitive to say to someone that they're doing that to you, even if that's what you feel like they're doing. And I think it would lack decorum. To be fair, you might not want decorum with a person who you feel like lacks decorum because they're quote unquote trauma dumping on you. So I'm going to I don't think I disagree with you, but no, I don't disagree with you. I'll just leave it at that. But thank you, Indica. You have been waiting patiently. Welcome. You're on mute.
My bad. I unmuted the wrong spot. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. Yeah, this is interesting about the whole trauma dumping, but then I forgot the first thing that you had asked. But like,
the topic was supposed to be regarding timing. I asked anyone if you had any experiences with anything on here you could come up.
Well, yeah, because like for me, it's just me. Like I will have men randomly tell me something of their life story at the grocery store, waiting in line somewhere. And then they'll just be like, well, thank you for talking to me. And I'll be like, I didn't ask to, I didn't want to, like that wasn't why I was here. And so it definitely does happen. And it's definitely the whole men expecting free labor from women. Because I've even gotten the whole, well, you're a woman. Shouldn't you want to sit here and listen to my problems so that you can help me to solve it? Not even help you, but just like, yeah. Well, I definitely get it from men and women, but like, definitely, we're just on the focus of men. And I think the whole trauma dumping thing is more, like I said, consent definitely plays a factor in it. And it also, like, if we're talking about what to eat for dinner and you're like, my cat died 20 years ago.
Do you think consent would, so you're saying, how do I ask, do you believe consent would change whether or not you consider it trauma dumping?
Yes, in a sense. And the only reason why I say that is because even sometimes with friends, when you're going through things, I know there's some things that I went through and then I was like, I couldn't help but to talk about it because it was heavy, but then some people would maybe have taken that as trauma dumping, but it is it molasses?
We're doing call outs?
No, I'm just referring to some that she had said before, but I just make sure I'm saying it right.
Yes, it's molasses.
Okay. See, I forgot, but she had mentioned something with trauma, like the relational part. But anywho, back to the part of, with consent. To me, it does, just in the sense of like, I don't know, because I've dropped some bombs on people before. But it's also with people that I knew. It was also people that I have a relationship with. It wasn't just like the random person at the store. Like, yes. I don't know. But also, I was going to say this part, though, with men, a lot of times when they say, oh, I revealed stuff and then she won't like me anymore, it's the stuff that they needed to work through with the therapist. It's exactly. I told her that I used to choke all my sister's Barbie dolls and throw them down the stairs because of how I felt about women. And it's like, then when I shared that with her, she doesn't want to be with me anymore. I'm not going to share stuff. And it's like, well, no, you just shared that you have some serious emotional trauma that could possibly harm everybody around you. You need to get that checked out. And so, or there's been times where I've literally, because been around dudes, they'll say stuff like, well, I revealed to her that I've spent all my money on some sort of thing and now she doesn't like me anymore. And it's like, sir, you have an addiction. but they'll use that as a ways and means to say, well, that's why I shouldn't just tell women stuff, because if I tell her stuff, she's not going to like me. But I tell her the stuff that's like for a therapist. I tell her the stuff that I'm hiding behind my character. I tell her the stuff that I pretend that doesn't exist.
Oh, maybe that's what they were discussing. I didn't understand this earlier in the art, in the thing. But one of them said, when you share your feelings, you're exposing yourself. If she leaves after you share your feelings, it's not because you were vulnerable. It's because you exposed an unattractive part of yourself. Maybe that's what they were describing.
That's exactly what.
And
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Indica Jane.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And this, many can consider what I'm saying trauma dumping. I've had experiences dating men where I'm just going to give one example. I was sitting at a bar with one of my old roommates, and this guy was talking about how he used to go around Atlanta beating up people. And in the moment, I was like, oh, so what do you do for fun? But in my head, I looked at my roommate and I was like, this dude just told me that he's violent, but he's trying to buy us drinks. And like, I don't want to be around this person. And even with another dude I dated, I asked him, like, how many relationships have you been in? And he was like, I haven't been in many. Usually I just like hook up with drunk girls. And in my head, I'm like, oh, so you're a predator. And I don't think that they realize that, like, in moments where they are like talking about themselves, that like they're violent or like they're a predator, like there's a character flaw within them. And it goes back to what I was saying with the lack of self-awareness. I think that, when it comes to sharing and oversharing, it's not always about when you're saying it, it's also what you're saying to and what that says about you and what that really says. And to Indica Jane, like, I 100% like agree with you. And like many experiences where people have like been talking to me, and like, because I have a presence where people feel safe around me, they share a lot around me, and I don't immediately judge them. Like, to them, I have that sense of decorum, like Petti said. But in my head, I'm like, oh, I don't really like want to be close to this person, or I don't feel safe around them. But they won't know that because obviously I won't tell them. But yeah, and men, like a lot of men, I feel like it depends on your presence too, because a lot of men, if they're intimidated by you, they just won't share that. But if they feel like they're safe around you, that's when a lot of things really do come out. And then they cannot face the fact that they're the problem. A lot of problems in people's lives come from the fact that they cannot realize where their faults and their character faults are. And because people react, they kind of use that reaction as a way to justify themselves not changing and looking inwards. And that's what a lot of like content online just stems on: insecurity and ego, basically.
I agree with you. I think at some point I was saying, I think it's sad that based on what I was reading here, a lot of men believe the only reason to work on emotional regulation is because it might net them a woman. And if it doesn't, then they don't see a reason to work on their emotions. I think, to piggyback off of what you said, I think it's a form of entitlement. I don't know if I want to use that strong of a word, but the idea that I'm sharing with you, sometimes I get so violent and I can't control myself, so I punch holes in the wall. And your girlfriend decided, maybe I want to leave this relationship. And so you get upset that you shared your emotion and this netted you something negative. I think you have to accept that you can't, instead of hiding this part of you and blaming someone for leaving you when you express that you're a violent person, that could be something that you seek to change or improve. And unfortunately, sharing your emotion isn't always going to net you a benefit. It might be a benefit for that woman, though, like if you care about her.
Mm-hmm. Well, according to, Tyler Perry and them, you're just supposed to love that man and work through it when he tells you that he punches walls.
Yeah.
And you don't just love him through it, and then you're going to turn him around.
Mm-mm.
But that narrative pushes so much. There are men that are like, you're supposed to change me when I tell you that I punch walls.
Was that Tyler Perry? Was that Dr. Umar who was like, y'all need to, when black felons get out of prison, y'all need black women, give them houses until they get back on their feet.
I think that was Umar one.
Got it.
Yeah, it's the expecting women to, she's supposed to heal me, make me better. And if you're not making him better, then something's wrong with you. So then he's gonna, yell at you more because you're not making him better. That's what all said that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a woman and she's supposed to make you better.
Right. I definitely agree. It boils down to unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as much as men online will say women have unrealistic expectations, like you just referred to Tyler Perry, he's a filmmaker and he makes movies that are fictional. And a lot of people, regardless of gender, because they consume a lot of media and they think the media they consume is reflective of real life, they assume everything that happens in the movie is going to happen to them, which is not going to happen. You're not going to find this magical woman that even looks like an actress that's going to accept you for every single one of your flaws. Sometimes you have to look inward and work on yourself. Sometimes you have to change. And yeah, I can go off about this, but as much as people like to say women have unrealistic expectations, that entitlement, and to what you were saying earlier, Petty, it is entitlement. And just because a word is strong and may incite a reaction doesn't mean you should stray away from it. And as much as people do react, that just is an indictment of how they feel, because the stronger the reaction, the more something is there for them to look into. So that's what I was going to say. So, sorry if I cut you off, no. Petty.
They ain't gonna look into it. They're not. There's a specific, not profile. There's a specific point I wanted to retouch on. Were you about to say something, Molasses? Nope. Okay. Regarding timing, let's go back up to read it. Timing in delivery matters. Bringing up relationship issues or deep trauma too soon can feel like an emotional dump. Even sharing positive emotions like saying I love you very early on can be a turnoff. This only touched on timing and delivery insofar as not offloading so much so early. But another type that I realized when it comes to timing and delivery, this is what my friend was supposed to help me speak about based on her happenings, but she's not here, so I'll try my best. I think a lot of men bottle up their emotions. This is researched and this is proven, and they release them only when their girlfriend or wife is talking about her emotions and her concerns. My friend was telling me about one of her relationships in particular where this man is, again, mentally and emotionally inept. Let's put it that way. And from my perspective, I'm not in their relationship, so I can only speak from a third party perspective. From my perspective, it seems like he's unable to deal with his emotions, and this builds up, and eventually my friend gets upset at this, voices her concerns with their relationship. And then when she voices her concerns, that's when he comes out and explodes with all of his emotions that he's been bottling up, right? As soon as she starts talking about her emotions and her concerns, this is when he decides it's time for him to bring up everything that he's been angry about since the past 3 months. The men who, number one, I believe these men don't actually care. I believe they're using this as a tool to disarm their wife or girlfriend's concerns. The reason I believe this is because of these phenomena where we have where you will see men, there'll be a post, right, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and it'll be like male teacher assaulted a girl child and going to jail. The women will be in the comments and this is disgusting and how could this teacher do this to a girl, blah, 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 blah. The men will be in the comments saying something like, if this was a female teacher and a boy child, she wouldn't have even got prison time. But if that was a man, blah, 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 double standard something. So These men, if you go to their profiles, you won't find a single post where they talk about child abuse or assault of boys. The reason why is because they are not expressing their feelings under these posts where women are expressing their feelings. They're not expressing their feelings because they care. They're expressing this to disarm women who are upset about something. The only time they'll bring up their issues is when it invalidates yours. This is what I believe is happening to my friend. She's not here to speak about it. But if anyone else has a similar incident that they have or relationship they feel like they can speak about this, speak on about this, then feel free to add. That's what I wanted to discuss mainly.
Yeah, the part that stood out to me is when you said, because I mean, I've probably mentioned before that I work with kids, and like what butters my toast is like men will just, like you said, they're like, well, if it wasn't then, well, if I was, and like I even in a group that I'm in, I even posed a question. I said, okay, fellas, how many of you guys have asked your daughter which of your homeboys creep her out? How many of you guys have actually asked her, does any of your homies make her feel uncomfortable? And then my other question to men was, and nobody answered the second question. The second question was,
they answered the first?
Some of them did.
Okay. Continue, please.
The second question was, what is the minimum age your homies are willing to bang, and how close is that to your daughter?
Oh. Okay.
These are some. I know these are some tough questions for some friend groups.
But yeah, I know. But then the men, like I said, the men's. Well, this is a group where like we share.
Whole barbershop went silent.
Yeah, whole shop went silent. I tell you, because I was like, okay, we can be in here and this, like it's like you can share all the memes, you can say all this stuff, talk dirty, but then I'm like, okay, so your homie sitting here talking about he want to bang 13-year-olds and your daughter's 14. What do you think's what's going on, sir?
Homie said he want to bang what year olds, huh?
Well, I'm not even gonna. I have a whole. Again, I work with kids. The amount of men who are willing to do things with younger women is way more than what we really.
You know what's crazy? Do you know what Clubhouse is?
Mm-hmm.
So I downloaded Clubhouse years ago. I had Clubhouse on my phone for like 3 days and then I deleted it. I've never downloaded it again since. Clubhouse is the most Clubhouse is it's like the Zeus. No, it's like the Tubi. It's like the Tubi of social media apps. For some reason, the most degenerate people I've ever seen in my life gather here. So when I downloaded it, I started on white Clubhouse. Everything was normal. It was just normal activity, people talking about stuff, politics and relationships and blah 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 blah. I got on Black Clubhouse. One of the first So Clubhouse, when I don't know how it is now, but when I was on it, when you scroll through, I don't know if it's like a feed or what it's called, you can see like titles to these rooms and you can join the room and talk and stuff like that. One of the titles to the room, when I'm like scrolling down to see what I want to listen in and on for the day, is the age of consent should be lowered. I don't understand why anyone would say this publicly. I have no idea why there would be a chat room named this.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Sorry to interrupt, but in the wonderful state of Missouri, guess what the age they're trying to push the marrying age to?
14.
16.
12.
Oh,
I was close.
Bad, but close. In Missouri, and one of the senators, congressmen, his feet.
That's what that's from. I do remember seeing this viral clip of this man talking about why. I thought he was talking about the age of consent.
Married lower to 12 years old. But you notice there's never any woman screaming and yelling that she wants to marry a 12-year-old boy.
These are the lawmakers, which I was going to get to about this room, because I went in this room and I argued with these men for hours. And I think, let me see. I think these same men, apparently you can go on people profile and you can see what conversations they have partaken in before something like it's recorded, apparently. These men are over here talking about a gay agenda, trying to ruin our kids, and the LGBTs trying to ruin our kids, and the woke agenda. This is wild to me. This is wild for men who want to sleep with children, saying that LGBT character in comic book is what's harming kid, or LGBT person in my favorite movie series. Why do they have a gay Superman? This is going to teach kids to be immoral. These are the men who I was arguing with about because they want to have sex with children and lower the age of consent. That's wild to me. That senator probably don't like gay people either and think there's an agenda. I think this is like an interesting dichotomy, because I notice it's men who believe that the age of consent should be lower, and that women this age are pure, and women this age, this is your childbearing years, are always the people who are like LGBT is harming children. So I think that's an interesting Venn diagram of people who collect in the middle.
Yeah, because to me, and this is my opinion, but the agenda has always been heterosexual, because the Legitimate leaves out heterosexual men. They don't get to participate in the party, according to them, and they're not the center of it like heterosexuality is. And so they don't like that. But yeah, they don't see, not to offend anybody, but the Bible clearly states a lot about the availability of having sex with underage women and little girls, and keeping little girls as spoiled for war and all those things. So I am not shocked that people in the Bible Belt, they know the scripture, and that's why they're putting it to use in the Capitol, in laws, because they know that their God says that it's okay to sleep with a 12-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't actually know the scripture,
but those do. That's
well,
what
they act like they do. A lot of people act like they know a lot of stuff on the internet, and then like they really actually don't. And if you look at, like, there's been so many instances where like people have been loud and wrong about Bible scriptures.
Oh no, but that one is not. That's the thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's verses on how to grape in the first place and do it in an honorable way before the Lord. And so people who know those scriptures, they can just say they base it.
That's one thing about the Bible. People religion can, a lot of scriptures can be interpreted in such ways that a lot of nefarious characters can push their own agendas. Yeah, for sure.
I knew people weren't reading the Bible that they were quoting when these people talk about he a Christian, but if a woman approach him while he in a relationship, he gonna have sex with her. And Jesus probably would have been having sex with a lot of women, or whatever this man said yesterday. Don't the Bible say if you lust after women, something, gouge your eyes out and throw it away? It's better for you to lose that.
The Bible says not to covet thy neighbor's wife.
This man talk about, I don't follow the law of man, I follow the law of Christian. Anyway, men are supposed to sleep with as many women as, I have no idea why people do this. Like, we can't see them. Like, do you know I can hear you, sir? I can hear what you said 30 seconds ago. I can hear what you're saying now that is not consistent with what you said 30 seconds ago. 30 seconds from now, you're going to say something that don't make sense based on what you just said now. I can hear you, sir. We can hear you. Like, do you know you exist in this plane, right? In this realm of existence. We can see you in reality. Like, we can hear you. You're not like a ghost or some type of apparition who can just pass through walls and your voice does not travel. Like, we can see you. You actually live in reality with us. And we can hear what you say is what I'm trying to convey. So I don't know why people say things that don't make sense, like we can't hear them. I don't know why.
Well, to me, I think some guys, other than the ones who are trying to push it as law, nobody's doing anything, but predators and predatory men have been a staple of American culture. I know, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, just that, like you can name more things in American culture, media, songs, television, cartoons that promote and support degenerative behavior of men than you can that's promote and support respecting of women.
Ooh.
One of my favorite ones that I love to dissect, and granted, I still do, I've got to keep it 100. I still do listen to this artist, but I still point out this one line in a rap song that I'd be like, nobody listen to this part.
Wait, Rick Ross.
Nope.
Okay, go ahead.
You want to hear the line or the artist first?
Kanye West.
You want to hear
the line in the artist?
Okay. 9. Can I cuss or not?
Man, say what the fuck you want to say.
I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say. It says 9, 10, 11 and up. If you bleed, you get fucked.
I've never heard that one before. Also, we have a limited number of F-bombs. So
okay.
We can't be
well, I used to. So yeah, that is a song.
Who says that?
E40 and Be Legit.
Who?
E40
and Beetlejuice.
Be Legit. He's. I know it's okay. Yeah, no, that is a line from a song by E40 that's been out for years. Did anybody say anything? Was anybody mad? I even when I used to bring.
Is he like free or is he in prison? Did somebody come and get this man?
Not at all. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's just out here. I
think E4 I'm not sure if it was E40 or CeeLo. One of them actually had allegations.
Yeah, it was CeeLo that had allegations. E40's never had any allegations, but yeah, 9, 10, 11 and up. If you bleed, you get 9, 10, 11.
You don't even have to say 10, 11.
Why do you make a distinction for bleeding?
Because then that makes, then she's officially a woman. She's not a little girl anymore. Now she's officially a woman. Now she can get pregnant. So, and men's drive is procreation. So now I can knock her up. But that's just an example of a song that's been out forever. Nobody was upset. Nobody was mad that he's singing about banging 9-year-olds as soon as they have their period. Nobody was upset about that. Nobody was upset about, people were upset, but not too much. They made a whole movie about, what's his name? I forgot. A whole bunch of musicians marrying their cousins and 14-year-olds and little girls all the time. Like if men being degenerate was such a big issue, we wouldn't have all of these examples just readily available all the time. We wouldn't have a majillion songs. We wouldn't have shows. We didn't have all these things. It's just a part of American culture, sadly enough, that so much so that nobody's really trying to do much about it.
I forgot how we got here. If I'm being honest, I forgot how we got here.
I know. But we got here because men trauma dump, men use their degenerate behavior as, like I said, all I said was, I like sleeping with 13-year-olds and your daughter is 12 and a half. Why you upset? I'm sharing with you. I'm confiding in you, and it's like, no, you need some help. But that's where we got with all that baton.
Reset.
Mm-hmm.
This is a club.
Jerry Lee Lewis, thank you.
I learned.
Jerry Lee Lewis is one who married his cousin.
Well, this is lore about people who I don't know. They all sound like degenerate people. I'm going to play my
worst degenerate. Sorry.
I'm going to play my interlude, and we can have a short after show. You guys don't have to hop down, but you don't have to stay either.
You really want to catch fucking 350 pounds of dude in your ass?
Of course.
Sounds like a good time.
That's a good time to me. He hop on my meeting, he start riding me. I said, Daddy, don't stop it. Look how he drop it. Just like a pilot, I'm all in his cockpit. I lick the cock tip, I let the cock drip.
You really want to catch fucking 350 pounds of dude in your ass?
Of course.
Nope. There's only one intro we play 2 times. Sorry. Swallowed. That's all we're gonna play 2 times. We don't play any other intro or outro 2 times besides Swallowed Up. So There is an interesting phenomenon going on. Before I get into this, did any of you have further comments regarding anything that we have discussed so far?
Yeah, I had a comment. I wanted to share. You asked if we had experiences of men airing their grievances out after women have aired their grievances out, and most of the time, when I've been talking to, not most of the time, but a lot of the men I've dated, and when I've brought up my experiences or I've told them that they've done something I don't like, or I've like said I want to end the relationship or something, they will use that opportunity to air their grievances out with me that I had otherwise not known, and they'd been harboring resentment. So I think that it's just a sign of immaturity that you can't bring up any issues without it's a sign of immaturity, but also like insecurity too. And that you don't fault them 100%, but you do kind of think, okay, it's up to you to be able to air out what you think and express your feelings. And maybe that's why we wouldn't be where we are now if you didn't harbor that resentment. But that in short to what you were saying earlier, Petty.
Drag them then.
I was just at the resentment part, I think is one of the key issues because in our society, men are constantly kind of, I equate it to kind of like racism a little bit because with men and also with meth colored people, they're both constantly told like they're awesome, they're great, they're wonderful, they're, the bestest thing since ever. And then once they go out into society, they realize that's not quite the truth. And so instead of changing that, they just rage at it. Yeah.
Agreed. Final thoughts going once. Going twice. I don't have anything to add, by the way. I think you both wrapped it up nicely. And we're sold. Now, I will be discussing things I'm currently interested in. I have already told you guys that I'm a certified barber now. I already bought the good pair of clippers. I'm hoping by buying the expensive pair, the quality of the haircut will be better. People online are saying if you buy the expensive pair, okay, I'm reading conflicting info. On one hand, you have the people who are like, it doesn't matter how cheap the tools are. It's about the person using them. And then on the other hand, you have people who are like, yeah, sure, but you need the right tools. Cutting the grass with scissors is like difficult, but with lawnmower, easy, even if you can't cut grass good. So I got the expensive pair. What does this mean? What does this mean? This means I'm now certified to barber. If you're in New York and you need a cut, let me know. They are $400 each. I know my worth. They are $400. And 50 extra if you need like beard work or anything like that. But it does come with a hot towel. It does come with a hot towel. The towel's not like, it's not like a hot towel with hot water in it, or like I soaked hot towels in water or steamed them. The towels will be on fire. They will be on fire. So things I'm currently interested in outside of that. Acting, quote unquote, acting white, talking white. This is something that we have discussed multiple times before. We will be discussing it again in the future. But before we discuss that, we are going to discuss women being child free. Apparently, I forgot what percent of women, I think maybe 45 to 50% of women are going to be single by 2030. I can't recall exactly. It looks like, yeah, by 2030. And women and men seem to have different interpretations of this. Some of the quotes from the men who were asking other men, what do you think of the news about 50% of women being single and childless by 2030? The men's response were good. Women's toxic behavior is backfiring on them. Men aren't interested in women anymore. Standards are too high. Someone mentioned the 666 rule regarding six figures and something. The women in the comments were, instead of pointing to anecdote like the men were pointing to research, one of them cited the article from Psychology Today regarding the rise of lonely single men. One of them linked to an article talking about some of women's fears in relationship and having children. And I believe this sort of difference that I see between men and women's interpretation of this data begs the question that I asked in a live stream from earlier this month. Do men in modern society understand women, right? When we have Bumble put out an ad telling women celibacy isn't the answer and stop being a nun and open your legs up, while millions of women are publicly expressing their concerns just years after Roe v. Wade is overturned, right? Or when we have women using dating apps expressing disgust at how flagrantly and speedily men are to send inappropriate pictures or be sexually aggressive in conversation. Hinge, looking at this issue, instead of acknowledging that there's a sort of devious behavior from the men on the app, decide to ban ghosting instead, because men are upset that women aren't messaging them back and just leave them unread. When we have women who historically have been denied the right to education, for example, employment, ownership of homes, bank account, etc., working tirelessly in college to achieve a degree and working towards a career path only to be sitting in the crowd of a graduation speech from a man who says that these same women who are working tirelessly for years, yeah, your degree and career doesn't matter. You need to focus on birthing a child and being a wife to a man and become a side character in your own story instead of the main character. A side character in his story instead of a main character in your own. This, he believes, is what women should strive for. To be a slave to a mediocre man, basically, is what I heard him say. You can agree or disagree, but that's what I heard. He believes it's better than to actualize on your potential. When we have women make videos on TikTok, right, just venting or veneer text, y'all. Anyway, when we have women making videos on TikTok, venting, or just talking about how their child's father abandoned them, doesn't pay child support, don't help with the kids, and how difficult it is to raise a child alone without the father who abandoned them. Men stitch these videos and just cut the women off by placing the "Now You a Single Mom" song over the video, like "You Let Them Hit It Raw." It's going viral as men are celebrating and relishing when other men abandon their children, right? Instead of holding the men who abandoned his child accountable, tackle deadbeat dads, right? Men, instead of doing this, choose to mock and make fun of the woman who stayed to fulfill her obligation to raise her child. Let's quickly go back to what men had to say about women becoming increasingly single and childless. Good. Women's toxic behavior is backfiring on them. Men aren't interested in women anymore. Women's standards are too high. These are some of what men had to say about women being single and childless. Missing was everything that I just spoke about for the last 3 to 5 minutes. I think this is I have the same feelings that I had in the video where I asked, does modern society understand women? Why is there such a disconnect? And instead of asking that question, I think I want to try to answer it. So I'm going to do some more research and hopefully have a video together for you guys. A live stream together for you guys, because how can you be so dense? This is dense. Like, there's no other way to put it. This is dense. How can you look at data saying that women are having less and less children since abortion laws have been repealed, and you think that this is because men are going their own way, or because women's standards are too high? Like, you don't think it's related to any landmark decision that was made, or anybody's fears about having a child, or lack of adequate care, or people who miscarry being charged under new laws because now they have a lack of protection to certain rights around reproduction. No, you don't think it's any of that. It's like men who are the 4G movement or something. It's the wild to me. I have no idea how you can live in delusion like this. But that's what I would like to explore. Why is there such a delusion? I don't know what else to call it. Abba and Preach say they don't know why these men are being studied. I want to watch that. Maybe we can watch it together. I'm confused. You don't know why? I got my veneer tech certification from Dr. Billion's 2-day course a couple weeks ago. I've operated on 10 people since then, and only one person needed to go to the ER. No, ma'am, that is not how you word that. That is a 90% success rate. That's how you word it. You better turn it around. Veneer tech. Barber tech. Who brought up veneers in the first place? Who brought up, let me see. Did you just say veneer tech for no reason? I think Diandria. I think I said that wrong. Just brought up veneer text for no reason. Why have I been seeing veneer text all on my TikTok? I've been seeing some tea. Let me just pull it up. Instead of describing it, let me just pull it up. Veneer. not a dentist, not nothing. A veneer tech. Where are these teeth? Oh no, you know what I saw? Forget veneer techs. I saw this woman is doing nails. These people nails are falling off the bone. There's all kinds of fungus and blood and festering disease. And this person just put acrylic on top of it. I am disgusted. Let's watch veneer tech. What were you saying?
Oh, that just gross because I have my manicure license, so that just grosses me all the way out. That's disgusting. So I have to tell my friends when we go to certain shops, like, don't do that, don't touch that, don't let them do this to your feet. Yeah, it's disgusting. Do you watch pimple popping stuff?
But I watched that whole. I'm trying to. How do I even search this?
Fungus nail acrylic product. Okay, I do like to watch people get their ears cleaned out.
Same.
Yeah, it's interesting.
My client, like many women, chose to hide her problem under acrylic. Under acrylic, the infection increasingly destroyed the nails, and after a while, the nail practically disappeared. Is it possible to restore them? I'm not sure, but we're trying our best and not giving up. Every 2 months, we will do nail cleaning, and at home, the client uses medicine from her podiatrist. Don't forget that the longer you hide the problem under acrylic or gel, the more time and money you will spend on nail recovery. My client, like many women, chose to hide her problem under.
That's what's been coming up in my veneer techs are out, nail techs are in. It's coming up all in my feed. I don't know why they think I want to see this stuff. I have no idea why they think I want.
Please stop putting acrylic on top of damaged fungal toenails. Acrylic is bad for toes because it doesn't allow the natural toenail to breathe. It creates an environment for fungus to thrive on top of the nail and nail bed. It also prevents the nail from growing properly.
Well, I'm about to come pick you up. I ain't seen in a minute. My bad for that last situation. I ain't never mean for none of that to go down.
This is my pimple popping phase right now. Thoughts, questions, concerns, comments.
People don't clean their feet at all.
The way let me catch you letting the soap drip down on your feet instead of wiping them properly.
Oh, you should do a whole, like the other thing that's going around and how men let the soap run down and the men do the same thing. They don't wash their legs.
Yeah, the hashtag FFFFF people not bathing properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy, could you not? He's a whole business owner and everything. And I asked the question, we was getting to know each other. I was like, hey, How do you shower? You're like, do you wash your butt? Do you let it run? You're like, I had to know these things before we go further. And he said he let it run down, and I was like, yeah, I got to phase this on out. This is not happening.
They don't like using washcloths either. They think it harbors bacteria, as if you can't put a washcloth in a washing machine.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think maybe they don't have several. Maybe they have like one and they use it throughout the week, and they think it's like a net sponge or something that's not.
Yeah.
I'm very grossed out yet intrigued.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to, because it's easy to get an infection in your hands with acrylics. That's why if you have a nurse and they have acrylics, please make sure they wear gloves or ask for a new nurse. Yeah. But all that is like water and bacteria, because you can tell that person, they don't clean their feet, they don't dry their feet, they don't lotion their feet. So if you get caught up in there, it traps inside of there with the acrylic, and it basically makes a petri dish.
But I don't understand. Like, you would have to, even if you don't wash your feet, just being in the shower, I don't understand how this occurs unless you just, I don't know, never take your socks off ever, or wear the same pair of socks for like 3 years. I have no idea how this would happen, even if you're not taking care of your feet. Even if you are just letting the water drip down, I don't think this would happen. Like, this can't be, there has to be more.
Yeah, it's definitely more. Some people, they work laborious jobs, so they're on their feet a lot. They don't wear the proper socks and the proper shoes. And then also, it's easy to get fungal infections from a lot of nail salons because the equipment they use, they may not disinfect it properly, and they're working with a lot of other people. And then plus, the way a nail bed is, even like, if you look at your fingernails or your toenails, there is that layer of keratin where you're like, that's your nail bed, and then under it gets caught under that. So if some, like, things can get under there for a myriad of different reasons. And like, a lot of people are really scared to have it seen, so they cover it up. So I kind of feel bad for them in that manner, but like, it takes a lot of work to get it fixed, but like, it can happen to anyone if you're not really careful. And then some people, they work really, like I said, strenuous jobs, and like, they don't have the facilities to like deal with their athlete's foot, or they don't even have the knowledge to.
So the other thing is, like, when you go into salons, always ask for the person who has their license. No, I'm so serious, because what they'll do is
Okay, I don't disagree, but how do you do this in a non-disrespectful way? Does anyone here have their license? Okay, you only. I feel like this would start fights in the salon.
No, here's the thing. Because they know they know that you know what's what. Because what they do is, like, say if I had a license and then I made you my apprentice, and so then now you're doing nails, but you're not supposed to be doing nails in a shop if you don't have a license. But they're apprenticing under that person. But if you let somebody do your nails who does not have a license, technically you can't really come back at them for that. But you don't know who has a license or not. So they're not even a licensed person doing these things to your nails. They're not trained to look for disease. They're not trained to, like, none of that stuff. Yeah, I do it all the time. Or I tell them, do not use the metal drill on my natural nail bed. I will tell them the things to do and not to do, because I'm like, number one, I'm paying you. Number two, you're not about to give me a staph infection. Like, nope.
Sunny Bunny, I have a full toenail, but it's small. Well, the pinky's smaller than the other toes.
I do not have a full pinky toe on one of them.
To be fair, I don't know what the dot versus rectangle versus full pinky toe look like. So maybe I can Google it.
I hope we don't attract foot fetishes on your channel now, Petty.
Let me catch y'all out here looking toes. Let me catch y'all out here looking toes. I'm trying to see. So is this full toe nail on the pinky? Like,
yeah, that would be a full.
that looks big though. Like that looks like bigger than it should be. Like it's bigger than the nail next to it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this one is small. Like I feel like this is just swollen. I don't know. Let me see. I feel like this is more accurate. I feel like my pinky toe looks like this. Now, what were you saying? You have a foot fetish?
Yeah.
You said you have a, which one of you?
I said I hope we don't attract foot fetishes on this channel.
Do you think if a airplane pilot was like on the intercom, hello everyone, we are flying over 35,000 feet. Do you think a foot fetishist would be like, oh my God? Or I don't know. What are thoughts? Not with this content. Yeah, I don't think foot fetishes would. Let's go back.
You guys are so serious.
I'm trying to see the fungus. Wait. Oh, the nails just look bad. They don't. To be honest, the nails look bad. I don't know if it's the fungus making those nails look like that. I think her tech just did a bad job of painting them.
Well, like, sorry.
Go ahead.
Because of course this is one of my special interests. Because like I had an auntie, she got a piece of meat in between like the slither, and she only was maybe like a week out and needing a fill, but then she got a fill, so then she ended up putting acrylic on top of that and did not know that she was trapping a small, a slither of bacteria. Whoever saw that, they were putting acrylic on top of that instead of filing that down and actually getting that out. That's what that, but again, if you're going to somebody who does not have a license, they're not going to look for that. They're just told to do the person's nail and that's it. So that should have been filed down a long time ago.
Maybe I should just get my at-home nail kit and try doing
No,
that.
I'm sure, like when you walk in, look at the wall because you have to have your license displayed. So if they do not have a license behind them, if they're sitting there with no license behind them, they're probably an apprentice. That's somebody's cousin. That's the person who just got here. And I'm not even saying it to be offensive. I'm saying it to be aware because this is how this stuff happens, like so much. I'll be like,
Do you think? Let me not ruin y'all experiences. I was gonna ask, do you think they share? Do they wash the tools in between? Like this makes me not want to go to the salon. Actually,
they don't sometimes.
Speaking of that, yeah. So like if there is extra, I call it ash. You like the nail, the file, whatever the filing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If there's that on those tools and stuff, if they just pull it out of a drawer instead of like getting it from the disinfectant space, all that stuff. If you don't see them set it up, yeah, it's a lot. I'll be like, Certain things are worth, like spending the money on or just doing it a certain way, or like some things in those times, it's okay to be kind of not necessarily rude, but just firm in what you will and not allow people to do to you. Boom. Yeah.
There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way.
Because I mean, this is an industry that I love, of course, but
no, to take my hair down, not to ask.
Oh, okay.
I'm just so tired. My arms are really tired.
Yeah, I don't know
if I can do this
at all.
Should we shave it off? 1 in the chat for shave it, 2 for keep it.
So are you gonna try to like fade it if you shave it, or are you gonna make it just a little bit
buzz cut? I watched a girl on TikTok and her braids were so tight she decided to cut instead of unbraiding them. She said it would take too long. She decided to cut the hair instead. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could do this every 2 weeks, taking this out. I don't know if I could do this every month. I don't like this.
I've had my hair short for maybe like 2 years now, and I'm like, that's too long for me. What you got right now? I don't think I can hang anymore.
But then I lose the ability to box braids. I lose the ability to cornrows, man bun. I lose the ability to twist.
You can get some.
I lose versatility.
That's what weave is for.
I forgot men can wear weave now.
Right.
Well, they always could, but
get you some extensions and just put it in there.
No, I saw some beard. Look, if y'all catch me on here with a if y'all catch me on here with a beard, don't say anything. I just assume I went to Turkey. I'm not what's it called? The beard extensions.
I thought you would offer that service with your barber.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you'd offer that service along with the filling in the hairlines.
I don't like that. I don't, sir. I'm aware that it's receding. I don't need the spray and the ink. I don't know why. I don't know why they just do that without asking people. I don't need the chalk line. I don't want to go outside. Why do people appreciate a lineup with a chalk outline? Do people actually like that? Like the spray, I understand. Maybe you're thinning, and if you do it good, it looks okay. Take him swimming on the first date, yada yada, whatever. But the chalk line, I don't understand. A beard tech.
You're funny. You're so funny.
Y'all are funny.
No, the white chalk just looks like you didn't wash your face yet. Like you're
so y'all, I don't understand. Is there anyone who appreciates white chalk here today?
I don't.
Going once. Let me see. To illustrate. So we have Exhibit A. Let's start with Exhibit A. This is what I mean when I say like a chalk outline. Maybe I can open it in a bigger tab. This is what y'all like?
This is kind of thick. I don't like it.
This is what y'all like? Y'all like these outlines? Exhibit B. That's a little small. Let's make it bigger.
Okay, that just looks ashy.
Are you going to start doing that to show everybody your skills so they know that you got it? You know, you're going to just get the...
That just looks silly. No, you'll never catch me doing this. Oh, that's what I was saying. My barber sometimes just against my will. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I can go home and wash this off. So I don't care. But particularly spraying on a hairline. Number one, I feel like barbers are cutting the hair with the assumption that they're going to spray in the hairline. So I feel like they're cutting it wrong. Like if you go home and you wash your forehead vigorously and then your haircut is gone after you wash your hair, I feel like you're not a good barber.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But outside of that, the lineups are getting crispier and more expensive. So it's just gonna have to be me. Matter of fact, let me go get my clippers. We about to cut it right now. That's what we about to do. Give me 35 seconds. Keep them entertained.
Not keep them entertained.
At first, I really did think that the line, like that grain line on their heads was like from the razors, from like the clippers. And they really like went in.
Yeah, I knew what it was, but it was just kind of like, it's something to me that you do while you're just doing the hair. Like you're supposed to wash that off, but like dudes actually walking around with it is just weird to me.
I mean, I feel like it's their version of the over concealing around the eyebrows. Remember that makeup trend?
Yeah.
Halo brows. Oh, he's serious. Wow.
I should have like a mat or something on the floor.
Yeah.
And like a sheet. I should have some stuff before I do this. I think that was a little rash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get a sheet or something. I can't take them down, y'all. I can't. This is too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
If you
I
need to
don't
get
know.
a if you need to get a sheet, we can keep them entertained for a bit. Just give us a topic to talk about.
I think you should.
Here's what you guys can talk about. I have several. I'll let you choose from them. The first, Black characters in fiction and the failure of society to acknowledge Black humanity. There's a new Black character in Star Wars, and people are, I don't know why people do this. When The Little Mermaid came out, or this new Romeo and Juliet, or now Star Wars, people start saying some of the most racist shit I have ever seen in my life. This is not accurate for you to add Black people into this story because there's no fried chicken and watermelon in it, is like a comment that I've seen frequently for the past couple of years whenever a Black character is added. And I'm going to talk about the idea that people are shooting space lasers at each other, but if the character is Black, you can no longer relate, means you don't see Black people as human. That's wild to me. So that's one. Another, I'm going to be reviewing a conversation I had with Truth Teller. The inspiration was a TikTok I saw from a Black woman who talked about light-skinned people in their struggle with colorism, with acknowledging the existence of colorism and the idea that they might have privilege compared to dark-skinned people. Why is taking braids down so hard for you? How long does it take y'all?
Depending on the braids, maybe like hour 30. But I've been having braids for like a while, since I was a toddler.
I need to learn this before I have children so I don't have to pay for their. Can you imagine paying for 3 people to have their braid? Oh my God. Something has to be done. I'll just shave their heads whenever it's time to take out the braids. But yeah, so Truth Teller, if you guys know her from Themis' channel, when we were doing IdGab, Truth Teller came up and we argued because I forgot what she said exactly, but she didn't believe that people with lighter skin tones have privilege compared to people with darker skin tones. I just mentioned some examples to see if I was understanding her right. And I was like, so you don't believe Black people who have very light skin or can be light passing or anything like that, you don't think that they have more benefits than dark skinned people? Like, you believe that all Black people are treated the same, right? Not every single individual is treated like each other, but generally there wouldn't be a difference between dark and light skinned people. And she said no, she doesn't believe that, and that I would need to present some research for her to believe that, which I agreed to. So I will be presenting that. You guys can discuss that if you would like to.
No, can you? Which part you said you believe or don't believe, or which?
She said she does not believe that light-skinned people or biracial, we were talking about light-skinned and biracial people. She does not believe that compared to dark-skinned or unambiguously Black people, they have privilege. She believes they would all be treated the same, face the same discriminations, and there would be no discernible difference, even though they're lighter. As long as they're Black, she believes they're treated the same and skin color doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
I mean, I get the sentiment that she's trying to, I get where she's coming from, but I think that's wrong. And I think anyone with sense would realize that's wrong. And yes, there are people out there who basically dehumanize anyone, even if they have a drop of Black in them. That's what the 1 drop rule stood for, basically. But I think a lot of people who happen to be light skinned or biracial, they have this. If I say victim narrative, it's gonna come off wrong. So I don't know how else to put it. but it's like this victim narrative where like they kind of do get the short end of the stick, where they have their identity crisis because they don't quote unquote feel black enough, but they're not accepted by white people in white spaces. And to that I say, you're literally mixed, have mixed spaces, and mixed people and biracial people do have that, which is great. But to say that someone that has a proximity to whiteness is going to be treated the exact same as someone who is unambiguously black and dark skinned, I think that's ignorant and ludicrous. And I think that is a very self-absorbed thing to say. Like, you're putting your own victim narrative and your own struggles before the perspectives of other people, and you're not really considering their point of view. What are your thoughts?
I have to save mine for the video. Indica, you are welcome to give yours.
Ooh, I want to save mine for the video too, but yeah, colorism definitely is real, and there's definitely, but I also want to say that maybe like if the light-skinned person is the only black person there, they will still get whatever treatment of, blackness treatment. But then if there are more variations in more diverse in variations in shade, that the darker skinned person may still experience things that lighter skinned person may never do.
Right. It's very subjective. Like, subjective isn't the right word. I'm struggling to find the right words for this, but it's very situational. To what you were saying, if the light person is the only black person in the room, that person obviously stands out. But in a situation where that mixed person is in the room and there's other white people, but then there's someone who is clearly black, like, and you can tell they have dark skin, type 4 hair, and they're very open with their blackness, then I think that unambiguously black person will get the brunt of any racism. And even so, that person that may be biracial or mixed may often side with a white person at times because of that identity that they have, where they do relate with whiteness, and they may have internalized racism. Not saying that unambiguously black people do not have internalized racism, but I'm saying how internalized racism manifests and shows itself within different groups of people is very apparent. And to disregard that is very dishonest and ignorant, in my opinion.
Ooh. The clip, for context, I agree. This seems like a universal truth to me. Like, not something that you would have to prove at this point in society. But I think this was the clip. Outcomes in society, because statistically, biracial or white people tend to have better outcomes.
Is it?
That is the question. I feel like I said at the beginning, in the middle, and now at the end.
Do we have data that expressly backs that up for white people?
That white people and biracial people do better than black people in society? I don't have it on me, but if y'all want to do a separate stream, I promise y'all I'll get it for y'all.
Yeah, biracial people.
Actually, I've already did a stream on that on my channel regarding Zendaya and Keke Palmer and just treatment of. I done a video on that with research.
My answer to the question is yes. Is it wrong? My answer is yes. Like, I don't like. I'm not going to change my position. My position is yes.
I could have sworn it was longer than that. Is that the whole thing?
I don't care what you say. So it is what it is.
But I would like the data on that though, like on biracial people specifically in terms of their outcome.
We can truth teller, we already know the more white, the more right. Like I'm not gonna dispute that.
Keep in mind, Annalicia during this conversation, truth teller, someone asked in the comments, truth teller, I think is brown skin or dark brown skin, I would assume. Annalicia is light skin, and Annalicia is the voice of reason. Annalicia said, yeah, people who are whiter have privilege. To be clear, I was very shocked. But so if I clarify, you would like me to provide data for you. I want to make sure I understand you clearly.
For me.
For example, I made a video on Zendaya, Keke Palmer, just black and this was about Hollywood specifically, but also about employment.
That's true. Kiki, Zendaya and Kiki Palmer. That's
This
true.
was about them specifically, but also referencing data around how lighter skinned people are treated in society.
Do you have that on your channel?
Yes, it's on my channel,
Yes,
regarding how they're treated in the employment system broadly.
Certainly when it comes to Hollywood, yes.
To the point where biracial people, when it comes to Black acting roles that would call for an ambiguously Black person, or jobs that are looking for diversity hires, choosing to hire light-skinned or biracial people as opposed to dark-skinned Black people, you would need me to provide data for you to believe this is true. That there is a preference for biracial people in society.
Here's the thing, though. For me, yes, I would because I don't know that it's blanketly
that's
true
fine.
through and through. I don't know that it's blanketly true through and through, because there are biracial people, a lot of them that do struggle in their biracial.
Yes. Ooh, 8 down. White privilege. I'm white and I grew up poor. I love this one. I love that statement. But it comes in different forms. Wealth privilege, but I have to wonder whenever I'm dating if they're with me for me or for my money. Whenever you talk to I don't think Truth Teller is biracial, but whenever you talk about a demographic of people with privilege, the first thing they point out is that one person had a hard time. That's wild to me. That's wild. Some people want to get a reaction. I don't remember what we were talking about, but they were upset at my position. My position was I was asking, is it moral for someone to I forgot what my question was exactly, but we were talking about how ethical it was to have a child under specific conditions so that they could benefit from something in society that we deem immoral. The example I gave was if someone wanted a white sperm donor so that their child could come out with lighter skin, so that their child could take advantage of the benefits that come with having lighter skin in society, would that be moral or immoral? I think that was my question. And then we got into a back and forth because I think Truth Teller does not believe that biracial people have privilege in society generally.
I mean, that is a good, I was gonna say that is a good topic because my mother gave me basically one of the widest names she could think of on purpose.
Indica?
No, my government name.
Jane.
So she gave me one of the widest names she could on purpose, so that and it's literally, I've had people come in and then they'd be like, oh, I didn't think like basically they didn't think I was going to look the way that I do, and basically say I didn't know that you were going to be a Negro. But yeah, she gave me that name on purpose, and it's like because her name is different, and so she wanted me to be able to kind of navigate places differently. So I don't know.
My family,
though, that's what I wanted my name to be. I want to be Keisha.
I don't know if my name is white. I don't know what race Victor sounds like, but I do know that my family definitely, they put that code switch in me. They put that switch right up in me, right on my thigh. I can switch just like that. I could be, hey there. I don't know. I feel like that's something that a person of no color would say. Hey there, my name's John. I feel like I got it.
Well, like, I mean, if you ever had a landline, you should know how to put on the voice.
I look forward to working at your company. And then you show up for the oh, we didn't think you'd be so.
I mean, but that whole color, it's something to talk about because truth be told, a lot of us don't wear our braids or a full afro to an interview.
Bud, there it is. How many Black people you know say, hey, bud? All righty. Excellent. Yeah, I feel I got that switch in me. I got it on me just in case I need it,
Mm-hmm.
But I can't emulate Bob coming to work and I ask him how he is and he say, "Oh man, it's been shit since my fucking wife left me." I can never imitate that. That's one thing I'll never be able to
Get
no, I
down.
won't be able to. But so SpongeBob and Patrick. SpongeBob and Patrick, where is this thing? I need this on my
Okay, so speaking of SpongeBob and Patrick, why was I watching a TikTok about how SpongeBob is a trust fund baby?
What's a trust fund, baby?
Wow, you don't know what a trust fund baby is?
No.
Basically, a kid like. So when you have these children, you put money in a trust, and basically you put money aside for them, and then they can get it. Like some people get it at 18, some people get it at 25, some people get it in increments.
Oh, is that is it like a Matter Baby?
What is that?
Hmm?
What is a Matter Baby?
Nothing. What's the matter with you? Hey.
You got like 13 braids left.
Thank you for saying what's the matter, baby.
Okay.
So a kid with rich parents.
Yeah, basically, and you get money. Like, yeah, you get money. Some people get money like after they get married. Some people get money like at certain age increments. Some people get a monthly stipend. But basically, like, yeah, it's like being a veteran, but as soon as you turn 18.
And without the back pain.
Yes.
And knee pain.
Yeah.
And spinal injuries.
And PTSD, yeah.
And hearing loss.
Yep. All of that. Yeah.
And foot conditions. And without the free college. Hey. Shout out to the veterans. Happy belated Memorial Day. Are there any veterans in the chat? We're just stalling, by the way, while I do my hair.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I'm a child of a veteran, so it's a different kind of trauma.
A what veteran?
Child of a veteran.
Oh. So USAA or Navy Federal?
The Army.
Never mind. Those are military banks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my sister went to the military and they
better.
were like, "Oh, well, you're her sister, so you have access." And I was like, "Cool."
No.
The ball is behind.
No, my father's already deceased, so I ain't getting nothing. Nothing.
But to follow up on what I was saying, actually, before I do that, I'll let Truth Teller talk a little bit more. I think this is the end of what she was saying.
When they're in a predominantly white, so that it's blanketly true through and through, because there are people, a lot of them that do struggle in their biracial,
yes,
particularly when they're in a predominantly white, particularly when they're in a white community, like predominantly white community. In the Black community, they do better, from what I have observed, because we put them on a pedestal in the Black community because of colorism. But as it pertains to the way that
this, by the way, is not an argument. The idea that biracial people do not fare well with white people, but do fare well with Black people is not the premise. The premise would be that biracial people compared to Black people fare better with Black people, and biracial people compared to Black people fare better with white people. It's not whether or not they fare good overall. It's just about in comparison. Oh, Kenny's here. I haven't seen Kenny in a while. Kenny, so I shaved off some of my hair. I have these clippers and we made some rash decisions today. You're coming in late, but basically it's taking too long to undo these braids. And as my arms are getting tired for like the 15th time today, and the people are flexing on me, talk about, "Oh, I take mine down in 30 minutes, an hour." And you know, we're 2.5 hours in this stream, and I have been in my hair for it feels like the whole stream and before the stream actually. So I feel like we just need to do a buzz cut, but unfortunately the chat did not give me permission, so we're just gonna live with the bald spot that I shaved in the back of my head and braids. Braids and a bald spot. I think, yeah, that'll work. Braids and a bald spot. I could do the reverse Ray Charles. Let me pull up Ray Charles so y'all know what I'm talking about.
Speaking of the revert, are you talking about that new way to cut hair?
A Stevie Wonder, that's who it is.
Have you seen the new haircut where they fade it in the front instead of the back? Like you're bald in the front, but then the fade is in the back.
I've never seen that in my
Oh,
life.
it's horrible. It is so horrible. You should look that one up. It's like a George Jefferson, but like faded.
Dang, Stevie Wonder used to have some hair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they put him in The Sims. No. Why would they do this? So I'm thinking something like that, but in reverse. Like I can have hair all over my head, but one bald spot. Yeah, like this, but in reverse. Is this Summer Walker? Nah, that's not her. It's never funny to make fun of someone for the way they look. Yeah. But yeah, something like this, but reverse is what I'm saying. Now, y'all use a comb to take it out. Is that why? What? How many more I got? 1, 2, 3. And then the last time I did this, I was walking around thinking I got them all, and it was like 4 in the back of my head braids, while the rest of my hair was just foreseeing. It was very unfortunate, actually. It was very unfortunate. But let me not interrupt our guest.
The biracial experience is in a predominantly white community. Yeah.
So on the
Well,
screen,
yeah,
I actually have
I mean, listen, I'm open to learning more about that aspect, but from the stories from their own mouths or what have you, is that a lot of them tend to struggle a lot in the predominantly white community. Hence why they try to come and accept themselves in the black community, because they get treated better there. Particularly biracial women mixed with black tend to come over to the black community because they know they'll be celebrated in our community, whereas they're just tolerated in the white community. Because they're still not white.
So just quickly, the video I have on screen is I made a video called Keke Palmer versus Zendaya.
Okay, but I want to hold on, Petty. I really feel like we can have the biracials.
No. I just want to answer Truth Teller, and then you can go. I made a video specifically on this when Zendaya and Keke Palmer were having some made-up beef that people online were creating, where I went into that was just a starting point for the conversation, but I went into a conversation regarding biracial people getting preferential treatment to dark-skinned and unambiguous, and I think, is it unambiguous or
yes, it is
unambiguously black people who they're black, as opposed to they could be biracial, light-skinned, whatever. And
is anybody denying that?
I thought Truth Teller said she wanted.
I'm not denying it as it pertains to Hollywood, because when you bring up the Zendaya and
that was
Keke
a
Palmer, yes, I see that, because I'm a fan of both of them, and I've been knowing Keke Palmer since she was in the Bee, Akeelah and the Bee, yeah. So when that whole thing kicked up, yes, I see that in Hollywood.
Again, that's one I keep saying, that was just a starting point. Hollywood was a starting point to talk about
right. So what I'm saying is, you have statistics in terms of regular everyday biracial
to talk about employment broadly in the United States regarding biracial people having preference to black people. Yes, it's in that video. Or I can make a new one, then maybe
that's perfect. I'll check it out. I'll go watch it. I'll go watch it on my own time, so I don't interrupt any more of the live.
She did, in fact, not watch it. I don't know if she watched it or not.
Appreciate that. I'll go watch it, and I'll whatever. Because I listen. Statistics are statistics. Yeah.
No, I want you to stay here, because what we're going to get into after, I feel like your feedback would be very important for the email.
I think this is where Annalisa and I talked about some email, and I was like, oh, I think that's okay or something. And then we started arguing about parenting, and then we had a second parenting debate, and then we had a third parenting debate, and then Cynthia G joined in on the fourth parenting debate. But yeah, I think that's the only portion where we talk about whether or not light skin or biracial people have privilege compared to black, unambiguously black people. No further comments from you. I'm losing my mind. So y'all just be taking out braids all the time. When y'all say it takes you 30 minutes to take out braids, are you talking about your own braids, or are you talking about like you're a stylist or something? I feel like if I was doing this for somebody else, yeah, 30 minutes, no problem. But it's me. Like my hands are, if I was like had my hands in front of me the whole time, braiding somebody's hair, that's different. But I'm like, my biceps get tired, so I use the other muscles. Then my forearms get tired, so I got to use my hands. Then my hands get tired, my fingers get cramped up. I got to go back to my triceps, and then those get tired. I got to go back to my biceps, and then those get tired. I just don't know what to do. It hurts too much. Somebody said use a rat tail comb. I feel like that's gonna make it worse. I feel like the rat tail would make it slower. That's what I feel like. It takes me hours, but my braids are waist length. Yeah, I saw somebody. Oh, you know what I saw? It's like some micro braids or something really, really tiny. I don't. No. And then it was like 50 million, 11 of them. I got like, I don't know, 24. I have no idea. But she had like 50 million, 11 of them all over her head, just taking out micro braids. And it was like a 3-day process for her to put them in. To put them in. I don't even know how she's gonna take them out. I think she just left them in for life.
No, I don't miss that life. I do not miss any of that.
And you say you do short hair now, but y'all are upset when I'm talking about buzz cut.
I might shave mine again. I like it when I just shave it. It's pretty convenient.
Put conditioner on them. I feel like that might help at the bottom to get it started, but once you like have it going, conditioner would help. Welcome to the membership. Taurus's Love Luxury Dab. Every member gets a dab. 1 dab per member. Please don't exploit the dab. My friend said I should go through all of the members who have joined when we weren't streaming. And I should find a list and give a dab for all of them in one live stream. I feel like no one should dab that much, but I feel like I could do it. They deserve that much, don't they?
As an educator, I really hated the dab era. Not even gonna lie.
What do you teach?
Now I work with behavioral special needs kids. It's pretty interesting.
What's funny about working with special needs kids?
You do have to laugh at some stuff because you'll have somebody like to be cussed out and threatened by somebody who is like 2 feet tall is pretty interesting.
Oh, I saw a woman who was being attacked by her grown son, and
Yeah. And the ones that I deal with are the ones that are prone to become violent and stuff like that. And oh, she missed her dab. Sorry. I was reading it. Yeah. But yeah, but you know what? The thing that gets me though, it's like trauma and behavior problems are like kissing cousins, best friends, twin, where have you been? Because when I tell you no kid gets hugs and kisses at home and then go to school and be like, I'm about to throw a chair. My parents love me too much and they talk to me and they listen to my feelings. Yeah.
Have you seen there's a video going around. Apparently there was a graduation and the administrators made the special needs kids like sit outside of the door. They did not allow them to attend the graduation and they're now under fire. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen that one, and that's horrible.
That's horrible. That is horrible. I'll take this off the screen.
Oh, yeah. That's a big boy right there.
Oh yeah, he's big. Let me see.
Some can be really, really strong and don't know their own strength. It can be very interesting too. And man, I don't know. I think the Black community and also just the impoverished community as well need to talk more about special needs and stuff. And yeah, like we're doing our kids a disservice because we think, it's a bad thing or something to have a kid who's on the spectrum or has something, but it's like, no, do what you got to do to help your kid as much as possible versus worrying about what other people think because you have a kid who has certain needs.
Since we're bringing up special needs, even if we're not going as far as special needs, right, we can look to neurodivergent people, right, people who might have autism or maybe even ADHD. So the topic of today was people who, particularly men who struggle to express emotion. Do you think if the person you were who is, we mentioned like trauma dumping, for example, or someone who brings up their emotions at inconvenient time or too much, or we mentioned a lot of different scenarios. Do you think your opinion on any of these might change if the person was neurodivergent, for example?
Yes and no. Can you hear me? Let me make sure I'm not. Yeah,
I can hear you.
Now, are there some people who are definitely undiagnosed and going through certain things? Absolutely. Sorry, your eyes. But a lot of it still goes back into patriarchal mindsets in the first place. And like I said, that women are supposed to be the one to cater to men's needs. She's supposed to heal you. You're supposed to save, she's supposed to save you and make you into this man. And how are you going to become this man if you're not going to have a woman to turn you into this man? And every single thing that men watch, because we talk about it from women, but we don't talk about it from the men's perspective. They're supposed to get a woman to abuse. They're supposed to get a woman that he's supposed to yell at her and scream at her and treat her like crap. And she's supposed to stick by him and love her, because that's what all the movies tell him is supposed to be happening right now. And it's not. And the dudes won't like me if I talk to a therapist. So I still got to find my woman to unleash all this on so I can be a better man. And I'm not going to be a better man until I get a woman to do this.
But if the person has difficulty with
social cues,
would this wouldn't change your perception?
Only if they are willing to, like I said, if you know versus you don't know. And also, being on the spectrum doesn't mean that you're an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, because you can be blunt, you can be very direct, but it's also doesn't necessarily automatically mean that you're like predatory or, in the dangerous senses. But like I said, there are some people who are falling to those dangerous senses. So it's kind of it's a fine line, but it's just that once you find that out, if you're willing to get the help that you need to be able to navigate relationships within your neurodiversity, then cool. But you can't just be like, well, I'm part of the spectrum, so therefore I get to be abusive.
Really quickly, do we have any neurodivergence in the chat? Do we have any tisms, any neurodivergent people at all? Anyone?
Yes.
Please let me know. There's one. Ban her. No, I'm just playing. Trapped. The reason I asked is because there, you can click the link. I have some questions. If you are willing. Only if you're willing. Maybe being neurodivergent makes people better at roasting, because I noticed like a pattern.
Absolutely, because we got the most words. Sorry.
Like, and it's effortless. It's effortless, Indica.
It is.
What did this guy? What did this dude? What did he's like? He walked into the This was on an episode of Steven Universe. I'm pretty sure he walked into this donut shop and he was like, "What's up?" And the guy behind the counter was like, "Something, something, something. You're a joke." Or something. I forgot what he said, but he was trying to insult him, and he responded, "At least people like jokes." And I was like, "This is effortless. This is an effortless." I feel like he's coded. That's how I feel. I haven't been diagnosed, but I think I am. So that's the club that I think I'm gonna stay in. But at this point, my therapist is giving a referral for a neurologist, or what is it called? I think a neurologist. So we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if I have something or if I'm just this way because, and my therapist is always like, "What do you mean by this way?" And I'm always like, like this.
Yeah, but there's so like I don't know. One thing that I appreciate about where I am now, I'm learning a whole lot more about it, and just also the way that trauma impacts those on the spectrum.
Do you think someone brought up ableism in the chat earlier? Do you think would you consider it ableist for a person not to date someone based off of I feel like the answer is in the question. I was going to say based off of a disability or even if not a disability having autism or ADHD.
First, I was going to ask you, what would you consider your definition of ableist? But I would say it'd be respectful, honestly, because I don't think if somebody does not want to take the time to learn someone's disability and learn how to manage within that, the respectful thing is to not date them.
Yeah, but if I said I don't date blacks and you said, oh, well, it's actually respectful because if you're not going to be good to them, then not dating them is actually a sign of respect. I would disagree on that being considered a sign of respect. But also, I would think that is racist, regardless of if they.
Yeah, that's the thing. To say that they don't date blacks is not the, like, kind of like, let me see. Is that like saying your preference without saying a disrespectful? Like, I don't know. It's a good question. Because like if I could say like black men aren't my preference without saying something derogatory about black men, if you said like such and such is not my preference versus I don't date blacks.
Yeah, I said it with a hard R. My bad. My apologies.
No, just made me think about, like what, like how would you state a preference without making it, I guess you say racist, but how he's okay. No, I'm not going to dive down that because I do like Asian men, specifically Korean, but then it's like if you are attracted to a rate, you're like,
Do you think your military experience affected your possible neurodivergence? I don't know. That's a good question.
Sorry. I was gonna say, as a daughter of a veteran, the PTSD that I got from having a veteran parent, definitely. Because what happens is, because I'm sorry, if I want to go down this, like the trauma and neglect that you got as an infant between like up to 5 years old literally caused like deficits in your brain. And so your brain was losing building blocks to even like build a foundation on in the first place when your brain was developing because of the things that you went through as a baby, infant, toddler, and like small child. And so then that on top of experiencing the PTSD and trauma of military, we just reiterated some things and just added to that deficit and makes your brain have to work 10 miles an hour. So like if you have ADHD and stuff like that, trauma makes your brain have to work even harder to navigate that within those dynamics on top of that disability. It like makes it even worse for that child or person.
I can't speak too much on it because I don't know the impact of like a stressful environment on neurodivergence. Like I just don't know the research on it scientifically or medically or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. That's what I do at work.
But that's okay.
That's what I was saying. Like I'm learning about the impact of how much that trauma impacts you as those pieces. Like it's so messed up. It really is, because it's like sometimes it's almost like you started out with a deficit that you didn't even know that you had because of things that you experienced as a child that you don't even remember, but it still affects your brain.
My arms are so tired.
Your arms look tired.
Oh my God, it's 10:44 Eastern Standard Time, and I still have. Oh my God, I feel like it's like 4 at least.
Okay, 4 is not bad. 4 is
Yeah, but it's been two, and I feel like there were 24. It's been 2 hours and 45 minutes. So 2 hours is 120. I feel like we can get this before 3 hours. I feel like 15 minutes for 4 braids. I feel like I can do it. I feel reinvigorated. I'm slicing through it at this point. Forget the conditioner. I'm just slicing through it. So since we're talking about ableism and neurodivergence, we mentioned trauma dumping earlier. And it seems like everyone had a negative reaction, specifically towards the person who would be trauma dumping. Do you remember what you said regarding that? Just you came in after Molasses, who I believe she was not providing a defense for trauma dumping, but rather I think she was providing a lens, or at least attempting to provide a lens into a person who is expressing something deeply troubling inside of them to you, and making an effort not to stigmatize that, which I agree with her about, mind you. Does this change any of your ideas around trauma dumping?
Does what change any of my ideas around trauma dumping?
Well, I think the sentiment was that you shouldn't be going around dropping trauma on someone without considering their feelings or whether or not it is an appropriate time or place. Do you feel like we are condemning? Do you feel like we're condemning victims to suffer in silence or policing their suffering in any way? And if you do you feel like this is fair?
I do, because of course, like I said, in our society, we're not supposed to talk about stuff. Like I said, and so, yeah, there's a lot of protection of those who do harm. You even get it even now. Like, why is she speaking up about this? Why is this person saying this? Why is this person talking? Like, don't speak ill of the dead and all that. Like, we have a lot of a protecting of. We got to make sure keeping people's names are still intact, and a lot of people who are neurodivergent. Social cues that say, hey, you don't talk about stuff. Some of them don't understand that. And they're just like, well, yeah. So for them, especially something like, oh yeah, my dad used to starve me every Tuesday.
But it's a social cue.
Casually, and not think that, hey, that's nothing, major for them to say. That.
But if we have social cues that delegate we don't talk about something, is that necessarily, that does not mean, in my mind, that does not mean those social cues are good or bad. I feel like we have a social norm to not talk about salaries that we make or discuss salaries with each other at the workplace, even though it's legal and even though this would actually benefit everybody a lot. So it can't be just having a social norm around something. I feel like that would make it bad for them to do. Even if there is a norm that you shouldn't like drop a bunch of heavy information on someone, does that make it bad? That it's a norm to not do that?
I think it's just, see, it's a hard one, because my thing about people and the whole triggers and trigger warning and stuff is like, you're supposed to be triggered. That's the whole purpose of being triggered, is something that's in you, that's not healed yet. That's why you get triggered in the first place. Because you can talk about some stuff and not get triggered, and you talk about something else and do get triggered. That's the whole point of being triggered, is so that you can heal it. So like trying to avoid being triggered is a whole weird thing to me. But it's also just being aware that something can trigger somebody, I think, is something that some people within neurodivergence do have a struggle with.
Sounds like that glass has ice in it.
Actually, that was chicken Alfredo.
Why does it sound like a glass of water shaking some? That's what I heard.
It's ceramic bowl.
Okay.
I'm clanging. I guess I'm hungry.
Okay. So you're saying that the people who are dumping are not being cognizant to triggers that the person they're dumping on might have.
In a sense, because yeah, but it's to me, it's the intent. That's what I was gonna say. Because a lot of times when it comes to a lot with the previous topic with men, the intent is to get some type of emotional labor out of this person. The intent is to use this woman to be my pseudo therapist. But then somebody on the spectrum may just be sharing and may not think, oh, this is not a bad thing to share. Like, I've been through this, so if I share it, maybe somebody else will be helped. So yeah, so they might not think that it's a big deal. So the intent is not to use that person. The intent is not to harm. They were just oversharing. To me, that's what makes a difference too.
Yeah, I understand. Do you think, would you still be justified then to, some people were saying, well, no one said that they would leave a friendship where someone does this, but I feel like it was implied through several comments I saw.
I was just about to bring up a friendship, because there are friendships that I've had where it's like, okay, you hit me up every time you're going through stuff, which is fine. That's part, but not when you're not when you're doing good things or fun things, but you can hit me up to, dump all your trauma.
So,
and
okay. I'd like to ask, that's actually what was going through my head. A separate situation than the one I mentioned earlier with my friend and this man she's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a person who only brings negative things. This is not me, by the way. This is not a person bringing it to me or me bringing it to someone. But there's a person in my friend group who cut off another person in my friend group because they say that person only ever brings up negative things and draining things, as well as exhibits a lot of insecurity and self-doubt, like negative after negative thing. But in the back of my head, I understand why, number one, why you would, in the front of my head, I understand why you would cut this friendship off, which she did. In the back of my head, this person experienced homelessness, experienced sexual assault, experience all types of abuse in their life on a daily. Unfortunately, they are not living a comfortable life right now and are unable to, probably for the foreseeable future. They don't have anything else to talk about. Is it not a sad reality to cut off this person and leave them to their doom? I feel like to their doom.
When I say I relate to that so hard, though, because there are some people who are, and they'll be like, we're kind of like, I don't want to hear about your, because then I don't want to think about my own, or they'd be like, I don't really want to help you. I don't, so therefore I don't want you to stop talking about it. There are people who are kind of like that.
But if you came to your friend and you said, I feel insecure about the way I look, and they were like, shut up.
Yeah, that's
you and this negative all the time. Talk about something positive.
Yep.
You're like, oh, well, this is completely understandable.
No, I even had somebody tell me, like, I needed to hurry up and get over, like, once I'm done burying my grandmother, to, like, get back into being happy so I can help them,
But where's the humanity?
There isn't any.
But should there be?
Well, but also that's one thing that I've been looking at in terms of with what they call it, holistic like with people, those who are neurodivergent and those who are not, and how they view friendships and how they view relationships and connections, and how those can be very vastly different.
DeAndre says, I have been this friend and I'm the type of person who would just disappear to not be a burden.
Yep.
How do you balance someone offloading a lot of heavy negativity onto you consistently? I agree. Depending on the circumstance, right? It's probably individualized and people might have different gauges for which they measure what is and is not appropriate. How do you balance allowing being a place where your friends can come to you when they're struggling with something and they don't feel like they have to disappear to not be a burden, while also maintaining your own mental well-being? Because being that person entrusted to another person's trauma can be exhausting, I think, especially if you're not equipped for it, which I don't think a lot of people are.
I think being honest and saying, hey, I'm not equipped for it is, and like, I guess because I've just recently been through it, it's kind of like now I'm being around people to where they don't treat me like a burden when I'm going through things. Because a lot of people that a few people that I've experienced in my life, they really enjoy being around me because I can be encouraging, I can uplift them, I can help them and support them and blah, blah, blah. But if I'm going through hell, then I can't be that person for them. And I've had people treat me kind of like, well, hurry up and, like I said, hurry up and get better so then you can go back to, again, being of service, being of use, and, useful if you have problems. And so, yeah, I know exactly what that can feel like, but it's also being around people who don't treat you that way. And I'm discovering people who don't treat me that way. People who actually want to be around me when I'm having ups and downs versus just when I'm doing something that's beneficial to them. So it just took me setting a lot of boundaries, but also learning more about social cues and learning more about how I look at friendships and connections with people in relation to how people who are not on the spectrum look at friendships and connections with people. Because there is a difference. And so that also has helped.
Sorry for your loss, by the way. I meant to say that earlier.
Yeah, it's been something because my biological mother is definitely fully still alive, but I definitely buried my mother. So it's been real. Appreciate that. But see, that's not trauma dumping. That's just literally me saying, hey, I appreciate it. This is so, it's still hard. So.
But what if I were to say, oh, but you're offloading too much onto me. I need you to chill.
Then I know that, I know you're not a safe space for me to be vulnerable, for me to open up that way. And and that's the other thing. Not everybody's friendship is supposed to go that deep, if that, which is something that I had to learn. Just because I like this person doesn't mean I need them to be that ingrained into my existence. And that's okay. It doesn't make them a horrible person. It just means that this is the level of friendshipness that we can go in. It might just be memes and funny shit, like that might be it. We might not go into any deeper levels, and that just might be the level of our friendship. And that doesn't mean I keep having to make everybody have this deep connection with me, because not everybody's supposed to.
Well, could you call that a friend? But also, do you think it's moral to step away from that person? For the person who wants to step away from the quote unquote trauma dumper, do you think it's moral for them to step away from that person? Dove Haven says, I've actually have a friend of almost 4 years who's typically very negative. She's a Black woman a few years younger than me, and she wouldn't have stood a chance if I abandoned her. This reminds me of, I think I read some research when I had a friend who was going through abuse but refused to leave the situation, not because there was a threat to her life or anything like that to my knowledge, but because she just was in love, I guess. That's the only way I can describe it. And it became increasingly frustrated to have everything that this man does put out on display before me. And we talk about it, and this is a lot. Like, it's very heavy, these conversations, only for it to repeat over and over and over again. And I wanted to step away from these conversations because I think it hurts to be an outlet for someone who will not leave a situation, even if it's not abusive physically, right? There are people who are being verbally abused. There are people who are just with men who lie or cheat or other things which I consider abuse, but a lot of people wouldn't. So when I'm looking into research around this, the research indicate that I think people go back. I don't think people go back 7 times. I can't remember if that was correct or
Yeah.
not, but let's just use it for reference. People
Yes,
go
sir.
back 7 times. And the best thing for you to do from the outside in, because at this time I'm Googling what to do, friend won't leave relationship, tried to talk to her. Like, I'm Googling this stuff. And what it says is you can't force someone out of these relationships. You can only be there for them. And the best thing that you can do is to be a source of support for them. This is not an easy task. I agree with the people who were in the comments saying this. But wouldn't this be the right thing to do, even if it's hard? This, mind you, is what they say helps that person to leave eventually, knowing that they have a support system. Whereas if you say, stop trauma dumping on me, I can't deal with this, when they finally do reach that 7th time, they have nowhere to go or no one to turn to, because you've pushed them away.
Yeah, I'm actually experiencing the same thing because it's like, I like how somebody said, you know, like that person's spouse doesn't like you because when you forget all the things that they've done, your friend's going to still remember. And it's like, how do you support somebody? Like, no, I'm not going to get excited when they do some random lame basic thing for you when they were just cussing you out the other day. It's like, how do you support somebody? And because I'm going through the same thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to get excited when they do something, you know, because I know like they're still going to disrespect you tomorrow. You're still going to call me the next day and say how they did this, this, and this. And so it's like, I'm not going to champion this relationship because I know it's not the best one for you. But it's hard for me to sit back and just watch you, you know, be disrespected at the same time. So I completely, yeah, it's a hard one. But at the same time, to me, that's still different than somebody just saying, you know what, I don't want to hear your mess because then I just want to focus on the fun stuff.
Yeah, as someone pointed out in the comments, you wouldn't be flagrant with it. I would hope you would be sensitive.
Yeah, that's the thing. To me, there's a difference in, like I said, I liked you better when you were fun versus, you know, hey, you're in a tough spot right now, and this is really difficult to watch. I mean, I've dealt with people who even, you know, abuse substances and stuff, and sometimes some people, they need that distance. And there's people I've said, look, if you ever come knocking on my door, no questions asked, you know, but I just can't be around you and watch this go on. But when you're ready to leave, I'm here. So I've had to say that to people before as well.
Maybe the last line is what would make it okay. I can't deal with this, but if you're ready to leave, I'm here to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'll always be, you know, like I said, I've said that like, hey, but yeah, I'm to that point with a friend too, because it's like I can't sit back and watch this. And I'm also not gonna be like, oh, they did something nice. Ooh, you know. At the same time, it's like, and especially because I've been in that exact same situation, not exact, but you know, very similar situation. I'm like, you watched me go through this. I'm telling you, and exactly, you know, like I'm telling you now, but but they got to do it when they're ready. You know, can't nobody make you. And yeah, but it's like, I can't sit here and just watch you do this, and I can't cheer on you staying with the person that's, you know, abusing you. I'm not going to be like, yay, that's so wonderful they did that. You know,
But should the worst case scenario happen, you wouldn't feel guilt.
what would I feel guilty about?
This person is killed by their partner or unalives themselves. It would be dramatic to say your last conversation with them, but you have pushed them away from opening up to you unless they're going to take this step of leaving their relationship so they can no longer open up to you. You wouldn't feel any guilt if that worst case scenario happened to them.
No.
Damn.
Only because I know. No, because I've said my piece, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, and only because when I say I've been around a lot of abuse from very different sides of it. And at the end of the day, that person really is not going to leave until they are ready to do so. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, it does not matter. They will not leave until they're ready to do so. But I will not sit back and say, you're not going to say that I never told you that this is wrong. You're not going to sit back and say, I didn't tell you that this person is not treating you right, and this is not going to be good for your kids. And, you know, I've buried people who didn't want to leave yet. And once they decided to leave, they're no longer here, but they still wasn't going to leave until they got ready. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks hard, but no.
Okay. Well, I won't push further. I don't think we're going to get these braids done. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 left. 5, 6. There were just 4 left, and then I braided one, and now there's 6 left. So I don't feel like they're gonna get done tonight.
You got a head wrap you can put on for tomorrow?
No, I'm gonna just shave it off.
Oh, what if you did thicker braids next time?
What'd you say?
So what if you did thicker braids next time?
So I need something. I need something that white people consider presentable. Unfortunately,
as soon as you said I need something, I was like, I knew what you were gonna say.
My job setting is not one that allows. Like, if it depends on how they look. Like, the only reason that I braid my hair is because it gives a straighter appearance that I don't get disciplined for at work. So
gotcha.
Mohawk. Fade, no. Bald spot. I tried to give myself a fade before. I gave myself a bald spot.
Look at the reverse fade.
The reverse fade?
Yeah, I said they fade it. They make you bald in the front, and then they fade it in the back. They make you bald in the front, and they fade it in the back.
Oh no! No, I already don't like this.
It's like but like for the year 9. There it is. There it is.
Oh my God! Why would he do this? His hair is thick and luscious right there. He could get the transplant, or it's a stylistic choice, maybe.
No.
Wow.
A weave, but no.
I was seeing this one a lot where they have this big blob of hair right here, like what's it called? Like a mullet, but it's not connected to anything. It's just on the back. I have no idea what it's called. This man has a reverse fade. I can't.
Yeah, I told you. It's the latest thing.
Let's see. Is that Tory Lane's
weave? They could just get a weave. Like
Tory Lane's hair.
Just get a weave. It's okay.
I forgot Tory Lane's hair is yeah. Wow. Even his hair isn't as interesting as all this stuff that we just saw.
Yes. So maybe you could learn how to do that and make some big money.
I ain't gonna make no money with that. Well, if I feel like this is a rare person who would get this haircut, and I feel like a lot of barbers would not be able to do like this. Just seems like such a unique haircut. If I learned it, I feel like I could charge a premium, like $400. You know, you can't get this haircut anywhere else and make it look good. So my price is $400. I feel like I could do that. That's what my braider did in Lubbock, Texas. I was about to name her and shame her, but I'm not going to. But she charges so much money just for some twist, or male braids with short hair. She charges a lot of money, and her prices kept increasing. And there wasn't nothing nobody could do about it because she's the only black braider in town.
Wow.
It was so crazy. We were out here paying $120 for some braids, for some cornrows. There was nobody else. But anywho, with that being said,
so
I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9. I'm pretty sure it's 9 left. So oh yeah, I'll show you guys the back tomorrow, or maybe I'll shave it off. Oh wait, it stays up.
Got a mohawk?
Yeah, I feel like I could do with a mohawk. Maybe I could. Nah, I don't know. Oh wow.
The side part? Yeah. Yes. Get some finger waves. This
isn't what I thought the perm would do. This texture doesn't seem permy. It does not seem permy to me.
What'd you do? Like,
baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. How is your love life, Indica?
My rose stays charged.
Whoa.
Very much. Yeah, that's about it. How about you?
I think I discovered a douche in somebody's bathroom once, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And then like I found out later, and I thought about that for the whole night that I found out what that was. I was like, where have I seen that? Oh, I don't know what it does. Like I know what it does. I don't know how it works. I only saw it like in the bottle. And I had no interest in looking it up to figure out the mechanisms and whatnot. That has nothing to do with the rose toy. I was just reminded of that for some reason. Because when you said that, it reminded me of a person I know.
She be good.
Her name's Rose.
Don't be telling everybody that Rose be dishing in 2024. So just leave that.
No, her name is Rose Toy. Like her last name is Toi.
Don't be saying her, and she's dishing in 2024. Don't say that out loud, sir.
There is 15 million Rose toys. I looked them up, and search Rose Toy and see what pops up. And see if you find her.
I already did. That's why they're in my house.
Did you mean? Now this don't make no sense. This man is too young to be getting this reverse fade, and it's lined up at the. I don't understand this.
I'm telling you, this is the latest trend. You about to see this coming out for the 9/9/2000. It's coming to a barbershop near you.
Don't be surprised if you see me with this bad boy right here. This one was the best one right here, I think.
With the beard faded in and faded out.
Oh my God, I didn't see that. Okay. I think that's all I got for you guys.
Last section on your work laptop.
So what are we using? Never mind. I was going to ask the chat to share, but I won't ask. With that being said, thank you everyone for joining. I hope these braids are out by tomorrow. But I doubt it. Hey, you is still a mod. Thanks for being a mod. Like, thank you for all the work that you do. I just really appreciate it. Be sure to like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, become a member if you want to support. Don't become a member for content. The content is not what the membership is for. The membership is only for people who want to support. It is 99 cents. Yes, 50% of that 99 cents goes to YouTube and 48 cents of it goes to me. So if y'all are wondering like what I'm spending it on, I can probably get like a $5 fill up per month. So to be clear, I ate a Popeye's biscuit earlier this morning and my throat is still dry.
In the morning, you ate it in the morning?
Hmm?
You ate a morning Popeye's biscuit in the morning?
Mm-hmm. I was planning to get some Uber Eats, but I forgot I don't know if I can say this or if it will give away my ghetto-ness. I ate Popeyes last week, but it was entirely too much food. I decided to put it in the fridge and eat it whenever like hunger arises and just like eat leftovers. But I do meal prep, so all of my meals for the week are already prepared. My breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the entire week. I usually make it on Sunday. So my only opportunity to eat the Popeyes really, if I'm following my diet, would be this. At the time, it would have been next weekend, which is this weekend. So I'm pretty sure you can't put food in the refrigerator for a week. I don't think it'll last if it's cooked, especially. I don't think it'll last that long. Now, to be clear, people eat it anyway. Let's be clear. But if we're following the guidelines, so I put it in the freezer because I know the freezer works differently. I don't know how long it lasts in the freezer, but I feel like you just need to cook it once. It's indefinite. And as long as you don't have it in there for like 10 years or something crazy, it's indefinite. It will stay good indefinitely. But when you take it out of the freezer, you need to cook it right away. So I took it out the freezer today and I heated up these biscuits and these fries. Let's first talk about Popeye's strawberry biscuits. This is not something that I knew was going to be such a bop in my life. I tried them maybe 6 months ago. They were amazing, and I get them now every time I go to Popeyes, which isn't a lot, but let me go ahead and Google these strawberry biscuits because
I need to try that.
might still be open. They might still be open. We might have a chance. Yep, it was. Look, because they introduced it in December. It was exactly 6 months ago. I remember because I saw the thing on the side and it was like strawberry biscuits. And I was like, why not? Try it. We should try new things. And I tried it and it was amazing. It was amazing. I can't say how. Okay, they're open until 2 a.m. And I have some Uber Eats credits because they didn't bring all my food. So this is not immoral. If someone brings my Instacart order or Uber Eats, right? This happened both on Uber Eats and Instacart. If someone brings my order and there's a party at the apartment complex that I'm at. My order was a lot of chips, like a lot of the big bag of chips and tortilla chips and potato chips and such things. The reason why is because Instacart be doing this. Oh, if you buy $20 worth of stuff, we're going to take $8 off of it. And I be getting got every time. I be like, oh my God, that is such a steal. I don't need $20 worth of chips, but I'm going to go ahead and get it. And then add some extra stuff so I can get that $35 minimum with no delivery fee. So they bring my 5, 6, 7 bags of big chips. Instead of bringing it to my door, they brought it to a door like 10 down. Let's say I live in apartment 920 and they brought it to 910. I'm not sure why. And I get the ding on my phone, the order's delivered. The order's delivered. And I go outside my door and it's not there. I look at the picture that they take of the order and I see the door number 910. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just go to 910 and get it. At this time, it had been like an hour. I didn't actually go out to check for like an hour after I got the notification. So when I got to 910, there was nothing there. I knocked on 910. Nobody answered. I'm on 910. I'm knocking. Like, excuse me, sir. Sorry, drink break. So 910 opened the door eventually. Hey, I think my grocery order was delivered here by accident. And he says, "Oh, I thought that was for the party. I thought they delivered it to the wrong door and it must have been for the party." Now this makes sense. This makes sense. You see a bunch of big chip bags and stuff like this and they're having a party. This is probably for the party, but they delivered it to the wrong door. While I was walking to 910, right, I decided to go ahead and open up Instacart. And as I'm knocking on his door, because it took him such a long time to answer, I'm already with Instacart support talking about the food's not here. They delivered it to the wrong door. You can go and look. You can go and look. They took a picture of the door they delivered it to. It's not mine. Can't find the food, blah, 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 blah. Instacart decided to refund me the whole $35.67 and gave me a $12 gift card for my next order. And I'm like, cool. I went to the party and they had not opened any of the chips. Oh, it was also like 4 cases of water. I forgot to mention that. It's like 4 cases of water and a bunch of chips. So I took it all back to my apartment and I got the refund. I don't believe this is immoral because they did not deliver it to my door. And just because I found the stolen property, like, what am I supposed to do? Hey guys, I found it. Just take the money back out. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Let's be real. Because, to run a transaction, it actually takes manpower and you have to pay that man a salary. And it also takes a transaction fee. And like, you have to power up the facility that sends the transaction. Like, it's a cost is what I'm saying. It would cost them money, a little bit of money to send me the refund, to take it back is what I'm saying for that transaction, right? Like Amazon, you send stuff back for free, you get free returns, but they have to pay the shipping and they have to pay for the gas for the person to drive and the airplane fuel, right? They have to pay cost. So if I tell them that I found it, and so they can take the $35.67, they would have to pay that cost. So I'm trying to save them some money is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, what should I buy with my with my $12? With my $12.
So reparations. I say reparations.
Strong choice. What's your second choice?
You should get the chalk to line your hair up to make sure you're doing it right. And that's what it technically is for. So get the lineup chalk.
They won't let me order food. They won't let me order food.
Did they open up your chips?
No, they didn't open them. They didn't open the water or anything.
Oh, that's kind.
So the Popeyes near me is open, but they won't let me order on the website, which means I would have to go in person. I can't order for delivery. I don't know what to do. I'm kind of at an impasse. It's just impossible. I guess I won't be eating tonight. With that being said, thank you everyone for joining. Be sure to try Popeye's strawberry biscuits. I am not sponsored. I'm pretty sure you can get 2 for like that's what I was trying. I was just trying to look up the price. That's all I want to know.
I need to
just want to know the price.
You talked about it.
A big feast in a box. Oh my goodness. What is the price? Give me the price. New golden barbecue chicken sandwich. That's not what I'm looking for. You know what I'm looking for. The biscuits. There we go. I think it's $149 for 1 biscuit. It's entirely too much. I'm just trying to see. I don't think they have the strawberry biscuits, actually. I don't know what's going on, but they don't have it. Oh, it's under the dessert section. Well, that's stupid. But, yep, here we go. 4 biscuits, $5.39. 2 biscuits, $2.99. I believe you guys can shell out $2.99 for strawberry biscuits. If you shell out the money and send me a receipt, I will reimburse your $2.99 through Cash App. Go and try the Popeyes strawberry biscuits funded by Prince.petti. I am not sponsored and I have no deals with Popeyes. Up to a certain amount of people who claim. So y'all better get it in and send them receipts in the Discord. Discord is open, by the way. The link to join is under the video. It should be in the description of every video. It is open if anyone's interested. We don't talk a lot, but when we do, it's very ghetto. And you'll get announcements for when I go live since it's very sporadic. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Indica, for adding and participating. Thank you, Molasses. Do you have any final words, Indica?
I don't. Drink your water.
It's gone. It's just ice. And I can't chew on. I'm waiting to end the stream so I can chew on this ice. I love chewing ice so much. It's my favorite hobby. Oh, also, I got ice cream sandwiches, but they're Oreo. That's interesting. They were at Walmart. And also they had, like, you know, the drumsticks ice cream cones with the nuts. Anyway, in the shell, I got that, but it's Oreo. Let me go ahead and hold up. Y'all don't believe me. It's okay. It's okay. Y'all don't have to believe me. I'll show you. You don't have to believe me. I'll give you a little ASMR. So I found these at Walmart.
Oh, I didn't know those existed.
It's just a drumstick, but it's Oreo. Get your iron level checked. Y'all, I'm not eating cornstarch. Y'all act like I'm crazy for eating ice. And there's people out here eating cornstarch, and y'all worried about me. Ice chewing is iron deficiency. Oops. Wow. It's Oreo inside.
Yep, I'm getting that.
I don't recommend these. I do recommend the Popeyes biscuits, the strawberry biscuits.
So if I was to choose one or the other, you said choose the biscuit instead?
That's how they do it on them mukbang.
Is it mukbang or mukbang?
No. We haven't reviewed a movie in a while. Do you guys want to watch a movie in the Discord?
Yep.
That's what we should do, because we just fucking around right now, I feel like.
Have you ever seen I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
How do I make this?
Have you heard of I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
Have
you heard of I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? Oh, it was one of the Wayans brothers' like first movies.
I've never heard of that in my life. What I am going to do is pull up a list of movies, and y'all are going to vote. I will add that to the list of movies that you can vote for.
Right. That means, have you ever seen Robert Townsend's stuff before?
No, I'm very young.
I know you are. That's what I'm saying. I gotta hip you to the. Oh, Black Dynamite is a good one.
In the near future, Civil War. In the near future,
Hollywood Shuffle. Yeah, sorry. Hollywood Shuffle was one I was thinking of.
Black Dynamite. That's not a movie though.
There's a movie.
Black Dynamite. Oh, the movie, not the TV show. Perhaps. Dune Part 2. Oh, I didn't even know it was a Part 2. The new Godzilla is here. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Ghostbusters. Bad Boys Ride or Die. It's a new Bad Boys out in 2024.
It is a new Bad Boys out.
All right. So if you're in the if you're in the Discord, I don't know. I don't feel like Bad Boy. I feel like I don't want to watch it, but I'm just intrigued because they made it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would actually be interested in watching it.
They look like their makeup be melting sometimes to me.
Looks like they're what?
Their makeup melting.
Hmm.
To me, whenever I see Martin and Will out together on doing the advertisements, it look like their face or their makeup don't be looking right. Okay.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
I like Kung Fu Panda.
Martin, I can't look at anybody in Hollywood the same really since Cat Williams came out and said the stuff he said. I don't even believe all of it's true, but I can't stop thinking about it whenever I look at them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even notice if the makeup melting. I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about Diddy and them people.
Getting swallowed.
Poor Things is about a woman who was brought back to life by an unorthodox scientist. And she runs off with a lawyer on a whirlwind adventure across the continents. Free from the prejudices of her times, she grows steadfast in her purpose to stand for equality and liberation. So some girl from the 1800s is like brought back to life in current time. And she goes crazy. Don't take her to see the Spears.
Black people want to watch something. You ever do?
Wax figure. Nobody's two can play that game.
Mm-mm. Have you seen School Days?
Have I seen what? Did you just hijack my stream?
No, you did that. Have you seen School Days?
No.
Oh my goodness, sir. Have you seen it? Have you seen House Party? Good gravy.
I actually don't watch TV or movies. I haven't seen anything really.
Oh. Oh damn.
Yeah, I'm just cool like that, you know. It's cool. I don't watch anything. Kind of just keep to myself. You know.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal. I just kind of, you know, I'm just cool like that. Ugh. Okay. I'm trying to see what's trending. The only thing that's trending is action movies. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but then I have to go back and watch all of the Planet of the Apes because I watched the first one, amazing. I didn't watch anything else, and now we're all the way. Caesar is dead. It's a new people. They're worshiping him like he's Jesus Christ. I'm very far behind. Maybe we could do all of the Planet of the Apes movies in sequence. We haven't done a movie review in a really, really long time on the channel. I think the last thing we reviewed was They Cloned Tyrone, maybe. So we got to get back. We got to get back to it. I got to start watching some TV.
They cloned Tyrone. I haven't seen They Cloned Tyrone.
It was very mediocre.
My attention span won't let me watch movies too much anymore. My attention span won't let me watch movies anymore.
It has to be a good movie.
Yeah, it has to be real interesting. Now, a good movie that's long. It's called RRR. There's an Indian movie.
It doesn't matter what you guys name. I haven't watched anything. Oh, I saw Girls Trip like 8 years ago. Whenever it came out.
I haven't seen Snakes on a Plane.
I've seen some clips. Like, I'm sick of these MF snakes on this MF plane.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I haven't seen Baby Boy either.
Baby Boy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the last movie and TV show reviews. Oh, The Sandman. That's right. That was a very good series. Love, Death, Robots. We looked at Nope, Lovecraft Country. Should we do a TV show instead? I feel like it will be easy to find good TV shows, or easier than it would to find. I can't show you guys my screen because I feel like I shouldn't. Yeah, I shouldn't. So let's do TV shows. Trending or popular? Let's do popular.
There's one. It's a British lady. I don't know. Carmen. I don't know. Don't ask me.
The 3-body problem. Have you heard of that? That's one that I heard people are saying is really, really, really good. And it's short. It's 8 episodes. And they are, let me see. Damn, it's like an hour each. God damn. Coming to age is depressing. Oh yeah, it is. If I get over 35, I'm gonna kill myself. At that point, you've already lived life. Come on now. I'm just playing.
No, it's pretty depressing.
Baby Reindeer. It's only 7 episodes. Wow, people are talking about this like it's a whole. In there 33 minutes, 28. Okay, maybe I can watch Baby Reindeer if it's that short. I can watch that and we can do a review because everybody's talking about that. And the clips I've seen look really, really interesting. I'll put it like that.
I wonder what's that about?
So I can give you like my basic understanding of it because I haven't seen it. There's a man, he's a bartender. And there's this lady, she's not conventionally attractive, and she comes in. This is important. She that I said that I'm not just digging at her. She comes in and they talk, and she's always he assumes she's always lying about something. She's always saying some outlandish stuff. Oh my God, I slept with the president. Oh my God, Jay-Z wants me so bad. Oh my God, I'm a champion horse racer. I don't know. She just says some stuff. And he's like, oh, she's lying because she's insecure or something. So I'm going to show her some attention because I feel bad for her. She starts stalking him. And at one point, apparently, he read an email and realized she was typing "sent with my iPhone" because she was going to an extreme length to lie, but she misspelled iPhone. That's all I know. Like based on it comes up in my TikTok every so often. Yeah. So it's between Baby Reindeer and 3-body problem right now. How are we feeling? Oh, Raz is here. We talked about your man, Raz.
Now we talked about your man. Like
that's what I'm thinking. 3-body problem or Baby Reindeer. I think it's gonna be Baby Reindeer because
I don't know what 3-body problem is.
No, but everybody's seen it, so nobody will want to watch it. Oh, Firin, Beyond Journey's End. I heard that was a good anime.
What is an anime?
Anime.
Oh, okay. Like an enemy, but with cartoons.
Okay. So, yep, they're saying Baby Reindeer. So, looks like we're going to do Baby Reindeer. If you guys are interested. Oh, I heard Twisted Metal is good too, though. We'll see. Yeah, let's do Baby Reindeer. So if you guys are in the Discord, Baby Reindeer tonight, I will be there in like 2 minutes. If you're not in the Discord, you can join using the link below. I'll share my screen if you guys want to watch the trailer. I can't share the movie, of course, because, you know, legality. but I'll share just the trailer only. Pinky promise, for the purposes of YouTube. So thank you everyone for joining, and I will see you guys in the Discord if you'd like to watch. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.